Welcome. You're watching the stream. Thanks so much. As we get into session 11 with the ill-fated. Yeah! Come on. Introduction. Everyone's excited, huh? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
let's
Early
go.
in the morning, almost
It's always
afternoon.
with trepidation that we approach these sessions.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously we're gonna kind of fast track just a little bit. So go through the recap because you're on the backs of these wolves, these wolves that serve these frost giants, the icicle like fur, right, and bluish eyes. They move at incredible speeds. They never tire. There's a magicalness about them, right? So we're gonna pick up the speed just a little bit, but before we do that recap, like what the heck happened because things really transitioned quite quickly. So we were at Monsag, which is the community of frost giants, right? It's a bunch of clans that are coming together under this pact called Nimsong. And you all decided, hey, let's go ahead and check out and fight and see, right? And particularly like what we're up against, right? Like what exactly is it that we're facing here? And so you went into Storval, which is kind of their arena, and then you battle some of the creatures. You found that they're actually quite sturdy. Like they're difficult to kill. It's not necessarily that they are able to they're not physically that they're just absolutely smashing and wiping you out, but they're really thick and strong because they have that white draconic scale, right? They have the armament about them, the thick, and they also seem to be magically as well as they begin to turn to icicles when they perished, right? So after we went through that, we went on the track of attempting to, right, go to the underdwellers, right, the Grey Dwarfs, the Duergar. And upon coming to an encampment they had pitched out by a frozen waterfall and lake, you noticed that there was signs that there was an attack. Something had destroyed them. Tents themselves were flattened. Many of the bodies were covered in ice. They were frozen solid. Some were broken apart, right? It was a very vicious and gruesome thing. Well, sure enough, we have Malrum Flamebelch, who's actually frozen alive and is just kind of frozen there, right? And you're able to thaw them out. And upon doing that, recover them a little bit. And at that stage, it became maybe the enemy of my enemy is now my friend because of some transition that had happened at the power play here with someone that had an overarching level of play, right? So whatever Grawl Stonefist did, or whatever they did in general, was enough to turn potentially some sort of table. Okay? So invited you into the space. You talked with Prince Grawl Stonefist. The conversation itself was, I mean, obviously it was very simple, right? It was essentially here it is. Not much. There's not much else to tell you all at that point. And upon giving you this stone, and you basically saying, "We'll do this for you. We'll get revenge," didn't care, right? Just saying, "We're going to go back to Linja. We're going to go back to our city. We're going to get out of here." Instantly after you left that room, there was something that got into that room. And these flashes of purple and pink cackling lightning were entraced and flashing out of the space. The same figure moved in a chase like pattern towards you, but not in the sense of outright running. They, in their composure and the way that they looked, was that they just appeared there and then they were standing there. And they didn't make any attempt to reach their hands out to you. They're just looking at you in your direction. Then you made your way out this that metallic door in the corridor, right? Then you went to the staircase and started going all the way up. Going all the way up, getting towards the cavern where the wolves were. Got on the backs of the wolves, started going, and that's where Ethrin was. Inverted, right? Turned upside down on the actual mountainside, climbing down the ice and the snow and the rocks, and just coming down at a downward angle towards you. The wolves moving at a quickened pace. They have this camouflage about them, and you go into the camouflage with them, right? They literally disappear in the snow and the ice, the conditions in this environment, and you do the same because you're on the backs of them. So right now you're on a full run, right? You're in a full run. You're in this environment. It's not cold because you're on the backs of these creatures. Lavrus and the pack, they're just continuing their run. They're making really quick work as they glide across the snow. Their paws sit upon it, kind of forming little pockets of ice, right? It's like snowshoes, so they're not really going digging deep. And they're just beelining it into the trees along the ridge line, and they're just getting to an area that's as far away as possible. You can hear the sounds of large gushing of trees getting smashed and crashed, the beats of wings at your backside. And then there's a massive roar that kind of erupts in the backdrop of where you all are. And the sounds of the crashing of trees and flying of wings become slightly subdued as the wolves transition or move at a very quick and fast pace. They begin to actually outrun whatever it is that's following you. They don't stop. They continue the same run, the same pace. They don't tire. They don't dwindle. Remember that these giants, they are in the business of killing dragons. It seems quite fitting that their companions would be able to chase down a dragon if necessary. This is what you're noticing. These have incredible speed, potentially outrun a dragon. They don't say anything to you. They don't talk. Just the breath slowly coming in and out as they're moving. You all are at a point where you're becoming fatigued, tired, as the wolves are taking you all the way back to Montag on this very night. They do not stop. It's time. The overcast above and the snow conditions are harsh, blizzard-like, getting battered by the snow. It's difficult to see, it's difficult to hear. The lights and sounds of crashing of trees and the pillars of smoke dancing at those lights, those same fires, right? That is beginning to unfold in front of you, making your way to the similar pass, or the same pass towards the palisade wall, towering platforms. You can see the whole figures upon them, the large wall that was there upon entering into Montag to begin with. They continue to press forward. They don't stop. The snow and the blizzard-like conditions, you can only see the faint shadows of the large hulking figures within the trees and the outcroppings of settlements within Montag. Some of them vocalize and yell out, calling. Not to say anything of importance, but just to celebrate that you're here. Celebrate that you've come back. Remember, it's dark. Can't see anything if you don't have dark vision. Right? There's no light. We're in the early hours here of this day. Yet giants still roam. Not a lot of them. They do have to sleep. They're still out and about. Eventually, you get to the Great Hall. That same wall there passes into the actual grounds of the Great Hall. The entrance, no doors there. You just pass in. You come across the hundreds of bodies of these giants sleeping. Fires, some of them still lit, smoke billowing. Sleep, slumber, large amounts of snoring. A few movement of some of them in the crowd. Now that they're laying down, you can see truly the expanse of this area. Thousands of feet from west to east and north to south. It's a massive lodge structure. Rock timber beams supporting the rafters. Skulls and bones and banners and art decor dangle from those same rafters. Bruce of the pack lower you down. Same spot. King nowhere in sight at the table on the smashed throne on the small balcony above the lava pit. The rest of the pack begin to walk off. Leather stays. Dropping you off, kind of pulls themselves backwards. I'm going to go and activate this map. Back to the Great Hall. Does the rest of the pack back, walking into the crowd? They kind of disappear into the shadows of the hulking giants that are sleeping. Leverus kind of stays, slightly goes by the lava, just kind of lays down a little bit, lets the head down. It's the first time you've probably seen this creature somewhat fatigued. Just tired, just lays down. You also notice there's a really cool effect now on some of you. Oh. Might have to make it so it only is in combat, but it's cool why it's there. You're protected.
Shimmery, shimmery.
Oh, nice.
So the
Dude,
hall
that's
is
kinda
empty.
hot.
Empty in the sense that there's nobody, right, awake or
Right.
moving. I mean, now that you've come in and you've been somewhat unloaded, right? There are a couple giants that saw you in from the actual wall that goes around that plateau of the Great Hall. Those are walking in now, and they're just kind of walking. It seems over to the into the distance. There are now you're seeing. It's still dark, and your dark vision. Even with that, you still have difficulty. Even with twilight, right? But there are chambers. There are sections within the wall on the north side. Down, right, feet, hundreds. That there are other entrances, right? They go into other chambers, other sections. It seems that one of this, particularly that on the northeast side, is where these two giants in particular are going from the actual wall itself. Could be that they're going to get the king. Maybe that's where the king actually sleeps. Actual bed chambers that are there. Or it could just be documenting, getting maybe some more food. Maybe they were just kind of waiting up for you all. Leverus doesn't speak.
Tegan,
Yeah.
you wanna combine those stones and let's see what we get?
The only thing that worries me is last time when I combined them, it was like a beacon for that dragon.
Okay.
Surrounded by a bunch of bloodthirsty giants.
Yeah.
Yep. We could
Hey,
we
about-
could wait until the morning if you would like.
It's up to you guys, but trust me, I want to get these things combined as fast as possible, but I don't know if it's the best idea at the moment.
We should probably rest soon if we wanna take this thing on in the morning. Although, thinking about it, maybe attacking during the day is puts us at a disadvantage. Thanos can hide at night very well, whereas
It
during
is
the day
absolutely
we're limited.
Thanos' favorite time to attack is noon, I believe.
It matters not to me. The dragons have an exceptional sense of smell. It's going to know I'm there regardless.
That's true.
How do we know it's not still following us and going to attack us in our sleep?
Well, it'll attack the dragon or the giants first.
Maybe. I mean,
This-
if I remember correctly, it's like a few hours travel back, right?
From where we were at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it was a
we
few
have.
hours.
I would imagine
on,
we. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's a few hours on the super fast wolves. It would be even longer if you didn't have that method of
Yeah.
conveyance.
So at the very least, we have a couple of hours separation between us and the dragon. Even if he, I'm guessing, before he got here. Oh,
Then maybe we should rest now. Take
An hour and
advantage of this.
I would presume after waiting centuries to finish this thing off that the giants have some sort of a plan. I hope, unless it's just us. We're the plan, but we'll see.
Yep. So it sounds like we'll rest for tonight and make our plan tomorrow.
yeah. We should. I mean, I'm sure the Trans already have somebody watching because they seem pragmatic that way. But we should probably have someone keeping an eye just the same.
Okay.
As
Well, we
well.
can. Yeah, we can take turns watching. All right. So, who wants? Who's gonna take first watch?
I can.
I'll stay up with you then.
Slowly picks the head up. Ithrin will not come here, chosen ones.
No. Too many giants.
Even though there is something protecting this dragon, cannot stop us from straining, snaring it, trapping it.
And
There's far too of us here. And this place is also protected by Thrym.
you know that sounds like a rather good argument for not waiting on the stone if we wanted, or at least that's not as much of a concern if they're that confident about it.
I mean, all right.
Well, to capture it is one thing; to kill it is another.
Well, we need this
Oh.
stone to kill it. So
Put an angry bee in your pocket; it might be trapped. It wouldn't be pleasant.
Tegan's gonna take a couple steps back, run to the table, realize there's a table there, and then take another few steps back.
It's been a long day.
Then he's gonna hold the necklace and hold the orb, and or I guess the shape together and see what happens.
So its current state is a trapezoidal prism. Okay, so as you're holding it up, the other pieces begin to liquefy, magnifying, begin to pull themselves together in space as they hover in the air, forms into a trigonal bipyramidal shape. As that happens, similar to like a diamond. Right? So as it forms into that shape, you can see that there is a frost that seems to develop and kind of fall off of its translucent, perfect white structure. As that frost kind of flows down off of it, seems to be almost permanent, effervescent, just continuing that small fall. There's also, upon this actual surface of the stone, little fractals of dragon scale begin to form, and then they disappear and they form. It's almost as if the stone is alive. It hovers in air, you kind of move your hand and just pick it, place it within your hand, and as far as its length, roughly 1.5 inches. It's not very large.
It's just sitting in my hand, hovering.
Can. But if you take it, you lay in your hand as well. There's no. It doesn't seem like there's like an effect to it that makes it do that. It just seems like when you're let go of it, it could do it.
Okay. So that's that.
Keep a lookout for crashing dragons. Scud missiles.
I don't hear any earthquakes.
Everyone just
Maybe
looks
it's
to
on
the
its way to
Yeah.
maybe it's on the way to destroy what's left of the field house.
But it's complete now. If we take it back to Torval and let him hit it again, maybe he'll learn something this time.
Are we
The whole
trying
town
to
will
kill
explode.
this man?
Or
Hey,
maybe
so-
High Rock just
Halo.
ceases to exist.
Halo's drinking a tea. He just sees Ethan coming back. No. No. No! There's blood.
Have a Captain Kilu on in the distance? We're so fucked.
So fuck.
I wish I could kiss that young wizard boy one more time before I go.
That was our goodbye. It was a special occasion.
And
How
I just-
bad? How bad would you feel if you found out that Pele was dead?
Oh, I'd be pretty sad, yeah.
I'd just be sad at this point, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, the dragon's on the way to the field house right now. Because every time these stones get put together, he has to go back to the field house.
The
You
check.
found that.
He's
You
like,
expect me to believe he can't hide in that chest of holding like freaking Newt Scamander?
Yeah, it's true.
It's like it's like a Palu Jack in the Box.
He's probably got a palace down in there.
I think it's more like when he gets scared, he like full ostriches and like just buries his head in the chest and hope everything gets better.
You guys are you're misdirected by the dragon. He killed Thanos' horse. Like if Palu ends up dead, it's not going to be the dragon.
Not gonna deny that.
all right, well, I'm going to bed. Screw you guys.
No, you're staying up for first watch, sir.
Nope.
No, the
Don't
wolf said
worry.
we need to watch.
The wolf
I
told me
know-
it was fine.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We have a
I
guard.
I
we
mean, if
have
the
a guard-
magic wolf said so.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean, Varus
trust
is
the
gonna have
magic
trouble
wolf.
sleeping anyway, thinking about Pelu. So
What do you think I'm
Plus, I
going to
think-
sleep for?
I think the dragon would have a hard time caving in this roof anyway. Probably still possible, but be more difficult.
We're in like the one place where the buildings are big enough to fit a dragon, though. So it's like you just walk
Mhm.
in.
Well, hello there, Tegan. I see that you
Well-
have my stone.
Hello, Mayor of the White Stone. I found you.
He just shows up wearing pajamas, like, "Oh, we having a sleepover?"
The question you have to ask yourself is if your thought process is right. We think, well, okay, like, well, what's to stop Ethan from just coming? And but think about how long Ethan, right, and has yet to actually attack Montag. Right. So all of the king kind of stated was that they attacked the people outside of this place. The king never actually stated they attacked Montag itself. So part of that is also not only because there's just a massive amounts of giants here, but also because there is protection of Thrym, their deity, that is imbued into this place.
Yeah, if he can make them immortal, presumably he can protect the city.
I feel like at this point we should be a little bit more afraid of the apparently attractive, scary archmage guy, than the white dragon.
You're
Right.
assuming those are different people.
Yeah, I think we pretty much determined that we were likely probably the same.
It could be the same. We're not sure, though.
I mean, I was basically going based purely off the whole lightning bit.
Right. I mean, that could be the mage that's buffing up his aura protection, though.
Yeah, it could very well be someone worse, or it could just be the dragon shapeshifting. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's all bad, whatever it is.
But we can take watches if y'all want. I just don't see the point if we're staying here. I think
Yeah,
there's
don't think
enough.
it's necessary.
All right. Well, I'm
Thanos
going
is
to
already
bed.
under the table.
Well,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
under the table.
He's
He's
invisible
under
under
the table.
A
to find
giant's
this-
gonna step on him in the morning because he's
Try to
invisible.
find as much darkness as possible.
Yeah.
This man hates light. Like I hate. I don't know. Like I hate.
Being away from Pelu.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Oh,
Sure.
All right.
Is Zeph sleeping underneath the wolf? What's going on there?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
it
sleeping
looks
against
cuddly.
a giant. He's sleeping against a giant pillow that has the levers.
Oh, okay.
It's warm too. It's comfortable. All right. So you all take long rests. It's the 10 o'clock.
The whole night I've got the stone in my hands. Not necessarily focusing on it, but just feels right to hold it.
As you all are sleeping and resting, the giants are awake. In the morning, they wake up. You hear the large thudding of footsteps, and you try to rest as long as you can. You gotta squeak in those full 8 hours, some of you. And it's a rough go. But they try to be quiet as possible, seeing you all sleeping, giving you the respect that you all deserve. Now they're feasting and eating, enjoying food, butchering animals as they're bringing them in. There's large creatures. There's also the same creature that you have actually faced, this insectoid millipede-like creature. 3 giants are carrying one of them on their shoulders as they're kind of walking in with it, potentially to clean and eat it.
Isn't that the thing that does fire damage just by touching it?
Oh, yeah.
Delicious.
Nice to be a frost giant, I guess.
Spicy.
Yeah,
Sees
it's just
the
the
king
flavor.
is drinking off a large horn, similar to what you had seen before during the competition of sorts, and is currently eating a large leg of something, looking over a slew of tattered parchments and other sorts of instruments about the actual table. But Bruce has been awake. It's just looking at you, so. Did you sleep well, chosen one? Stares at your longing eyes, so.
Was it good for you as it was for me?
It's an awkward morning after wake up now.
Very comfy.
Oh,
Highly recommend.
Moves off, jumps up on top of the balcony, and then sidesteps, begins to talk to the king.
I guess I'm gonna go take a seat at the table. Kick Thanos while I'm right there to wake him up.
Oh, Thanos has been up.
Oh, okay.
Don't watch
just
you
kick-
sleep for like
I just
4
kicked this
hours.
shit anyway.
Mhm.
He just walks by and kicks it.
Hey man, you awake? He's just like standing there.
It's better down here, okay? Leave me alone.
it's better down here.
So are you boys as terrified as I am? The
No.
challenge?
What? Why would we
But
be
which part?
terrified of that?
Fair enough. Could be fun.
Tegan has to kill this one, right? We just watch.
Oh yeah, one-handed.
Too early for this shit.
All right, Tegan, we'll be waiting here for when you get back.
No, we'll keep a drink warm for you.
Yep, for sure.
You seem really lively today compared to yesterday, I'm not gonna lie.
There's a whole lot going on yesterday. You know, the whole you're gonna kill a dragon thing.
Yeah.
Here's the other part of the stone. There's 4. Now you have all 4. Plus, I really didn't like being back with the dwarves.
Yeah.
You got a diamond
was-
from the prince, though.
Yeah.
I think he was proposing.
I was saying, I think he put a ring on it.
And
Well-
a stone on it, more exactly.
I think we're doing long distance now, so I don't think it's gonna last very long.
That would make sense. Seemed kind of old,
Dude,
too.
Should we go talk to the king?
I
Are we
mean,
all
give-
ready?
We gonna interrupt his breakfast?
We'll
It's
just
more
give him
like
an
lunch.
update.
Yeah,
Yeah, give him an update on what happened, you know?
Seeing you all awake and arising, giants begin to come from around, doing the similar fashion, providing you all food, bowls, and things, large legs. They're also feeding you freshly cooked of the same millipede creature you've actually killed. It's kind of got a shellfish, almost lobster-like quality to it. It's been cooked down, and it has this beautiful, sweet taste to it.
Really? It tastes good?
But
That's interesting. I wouldn't think this tastes good.
Anything can taste good if you cook it right.
I have to tell my parents about this when we get back. Maybe we can start importing this.
yeah, that'll be a whole second campaign there.
Right, just setting up the export business of the fiery millipedes.
The genocide of Riveraz.
Yeah. Yeah,
Exploit of
Papa
all
will think
she's
this-
worth.
Papa will think this is delicious.
Like
Papa, this takes steamed lobster to a whole new level.
Yeah. What y'all haven't seen yet is when I talk to them, completely different person. I'm much more relaxed around y'all. Yeah. You should see my dad. He's a real tight ass.
He has
You would
what?
say that to his face.
No, of course not.
He might by the time we're done with him.
Yeah, maybe if I'm stronger than him.
He's drinking and eating millipedes and carousing with frost giants.
Whose ass is tighter, your dad's or Palu's? Sorry, I'll stop. Promise.
Jesus.
That's enough, Tegan. Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll just shut up. I'm sorry.
Roll psychic damage.
It's okay, buddy. I'm glad to have you with us. I mean, who else would constantly make fun of me for my relationships?
I mean, hey, my fiance is now moving back to his hometown, I guess, so.
Sees the king makes way to the throne, staying on top of it. Monster! You can seal out. As three giants begin to come around the bend, Levrus in tow. These giants themselves kneel down. One of them will sing false song. Two others. Today is a very momentous occasion. As we bear witness to prophecy fulfilled. And by Thrim's mighty hammer. Nimsong completed. Chosen, you will company will sing for song. Vorvog, Roomhilda, they will take you. Base of Hilvarig Peak. I have spoken to Levrus. It would not be wise to send more. If you are spotted, or you are able to reach the destination, I fear the task will not be met. We'll move fast and light. We'll reach the base of Hilvarig Peak tomorrow. Spend the night in one of our most sacred places. Are you ready?
Telepathically into Tegan's head, I'll be like, hey, you know what you should do? Ask him if we can have his belt, since he's gonna die after this.
Who'd you say that to?
Tegan,
He-
Oh, Tegan?
I have to ask him?
you're the most
You're-
charming out of all
You're
of us.
you're the talky one.
Tegan, or Jeff will just say, of course.
We are ready.
Answered.
You're all ready. It's good. As see as Wolf sing song, the two other giants kneel down, lowering their arms down to the ground. You will ride them.
Okay.
All right.
What's with the glowy ones?
They're being protected by the paladin.
They're in the
Yeah,
aura.
no.
They're just
allies.
really big, so it's
They're allies, yeah. They're just really big.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize we had that too. We just conforms to our shape better.
Yeah. All right, I guess I'll go and hop on a giant. It's so funny. It's so awesome.
And I think we've lost Steven, so Steven's off to get adjusted,
yeah.
get worked out. But Lucar with Thorvald.
Sorry, the one with the dragon killing sword. We don't need him.
Varys, the light maker, and Thanos.
Yes. I was gonna be my thing. Do I really have to ride
Best
with the
friends.
light?
Are you serious right
I
now?
will not make light, I promise. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's in the day, so if we attack at night, I promise I will make light.
Best friends forever. I'm loving this dynamic, honestly.
Best friends forever. Alright, let's see here. Alright, just gonna make a couple notes.
Hey, Thanos.
Yes, maker of light.
Dweller of darkness, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling?
You about to kill a dragon?
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Just another day.
Yeah.
Just another prey.
Want to check on you, make sure you're doing good.
I feel very at ease with hunting this dragon.
That makes one of us.
Now, getting upon the giants, they begin to stand up, turning around towards the king. They lower the heads with respect, putting upon the shoulders as well as the arms, kind of holding out right on the two shoulders there. Kind of press down, back down to a knee after standing, stand right back up. As they hold their weapons, they have axes too. Okay, these axes are to you look like a battle axe, but they're technically a large kind of great axe that they're able to kind of hold in one hand. The other hand themselves is slightly free. They can also two-hand the axe. And the actual token artwork is accurate. They can actually form ice spears in their hands. So they have these same magic, this giant-like magic. And it seems that they can use that to conjure actual javelins they can throw. Beyond that, you notice that they have small satchels across the side, patchwork armor made of draconic bones, right? You see obviously the description of Wolf's song already. And in the pack, there's rations, rope, there's kind of adventuring supplies, but not what you would think that you would have, right, in your pack. They don't need bedrolls. They don't need to have shelter in the environments that they care, right? They're really just aimed to get to where they're going and to slay a dragon. That's all they care about. So that is what's in the satchel, this pouch that kind of dangles around the strap on the side of it. They begin to walk out immediately. The crowd doesn't say anything. Silence. Begin to walk out. Drums begin to start playing from the ground, and some of them begin to start actually creating kind of a beat, if you will, as you begin to walk out of the Great Hall, passing into Monsag. You begin to walk the direction outside of Monsag to the east, finding a small pass. You work your way up the sides of the mountains as the giants themselves continue this beat the entirety as you begin to make your way outside of the community. Levers of the pack slowly fall behind. In the distance, you see them finally disappear, as well as the frost giants in the distance. The only thing that you have note is the overcast, no longer blizzarding. It's just kind of small snowfall. Temperature is cold, but on the actual side of the giants as well, there's an atmosphere that they're kind of creating. This is something that I described before, right? So you have the warmth to them that they're providing you. You see in the distance with the overcast, like the light snow, you can see the pure pyres, right? The fires, right? The smoke dwindling, right? The trees, the shadows moving of the giants. You can see them quite in detail, considering how large they are. Even as far as you're going now, using switchbacks and working up the actual mountainside, the giants are traversing this mountainside quite easily. And knowing their size and strength, for you all, this would take potentially hours. For them, it's mere minutes. So cresting over cliffs and things that you would need to actually climb up using climbers kits and things to just kind of reach up and grab the top, pulling themselves upright as they begin to work themselves into an area towards Alvaric Peak. Now, this journey is a long journey. Okay, there are going to be sections of potentially maps and areas, right? So as we kind of come to, I'm just going to give you a loose description of where you all are headed, where you're all going, and then I'll describe the maps as we enter them. After 6 hours pass by, noting the clock, roughly at 6 o'clock, right? See the sun starting to dwindle, the cold temperature really settling in, the snow picking up, the wind howling and moving. You now come onto an area that's large and expansive, flat. You could have pulled yourself up upon it. You notice that Wolfsing Volsong mutters lightly to the rest of them. Common. Island of Jotun. The eyes become peeled upon the series of deep and entrenched ice ravines, cataclysmic as they fold over the landscape, riddled with small thickets and bushes. Their eyes are pierced into those ice ravines and looking for any movement, any cracks, any creaks. Let's begin to traverse across it, crunching into the ice, splintering it. The entire place is just ice. Snow is a kind of a false covering over it. Careful with their steps, moving at a slower pace. After a series of time here, walking, minutes pass by, visibility becomes difficult. You get across this island. But they stop. As they stop, they kneel down slightly into the ice to feel. That's what we're going to activate. Just want to make sure all your tokens are in place.
So approximately where on the world map? Which direction were we headed?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get your tokens placed here. Something going on with the orbit. So you all, as far as your current spot and location, Monsag is nestled. Use the pencil tool. So Monsag is nestled here. So you are literally going up into the side of the mountain, and you're aimed to go, not to get to the top of this peak, not to get to the top of this mountain, but you are trying to get to the base of this, and it's nestled between. And so it's not very far, but you have a lot of elevation to gain, right? So you have a good distance as far as you're moving. So they're not far away from potential of where this dragon is, and it could be that this dragon is here because it wanted to be close. It's tough to say, right? You think about the large, massive expanse of the Frosthorn. If you were a creature you're being hunted, you would most likely be extremely, really far away from whatever's hunting you. But the tides, or the tables, so to speak, have turned. That perhaps this is why this dragon is as close as it is. So, trying to get your order correct, but make sure I have you all on the right giants here, as I wrote down. Okay, Tegan is on this one, then you're on this one. with. Okay. So you've been traveling for a good distance across this flat piece of tundra rippled with the ravines, right? This flat piece of ice rippled with these trenches. The distance itself has covered a good 2 miles as far as how far you've actually made way. Becomes apparent that in the distance through some of the tundra vegetation that the mountainside begins to reform. Okay, and a passage exits out to the northeast. In the distance behind the passage, even with the slight snowfall and the overcast, you can see a large and towering mountain that goes up to about 10,150 feet in elevation. You're not anywhere near that elevation in foot game, noting how much time or travel time you have to take for the remainder of the day and possibly into the second day. But again, we're getting to the base of that peak. You just want to get to the base of that mountain. So in order to do that, it seems that they have to kind of go into this pass or into this spot that these segments of ridgelines are collapsing. And one of the notes that the king had stated, Wolfsing also had said upon this journey, is that stealth and being as cautious is paramount, given that the opportunity could be taken away, that things could be stopped. And so they're moving at this pace and moving like this because they want to make sure that they can catch the dragon in its lair. So they don't want it to escape. When unpositive. Volsing Volsong at this point, coming into the ice, the eyes fixated with the actual congruence of the ravines.
Do you see something?
It is not uncommon. That's smells the air and looks. There's a creature that you ate for breakfast. They like to nest, sit within this space.
Yes, we have had a run-in with one of those before. It is not particularly friendly.
Like you like to do.
Is there any way we could avoid it?
Go around.
Seems like the best idea. Otherwise, we'll make a lot of noise.
All of the dice.
So, as they begin to pull themselves marching, you go ahead and start moving your giants independently. You see as Broomhilda takes towards the south, two giants begin to separate out, potentially moving the sounds of their audible crunching to other areas. Right? They want to kind of spread out the sounds that they would be making. On this journey, on this trek, as they begin to go around potential congruence here, Broomhilda is slightly off the map as well. I'm going to put roughly about 30 feet actually off the map would be decent before having to do too much noise of jumping and crunching through some of the ravines. Gorvar has just thrown themselves over this ravine, kind of stepping and jumping over it, and a large chunk of ice falls off. Stealth check of only 4. Crack the ice and fall off into the ravine, hits into a series of creeks in the ice.
Steady.
Echo, click. See Wolf Sing Volsong turn to look at Gorvog, snapping the eyes. Gorvog picks himself wide-eyed a little bit. They now kind of kneel down and crunch. Hilda continues walking around. Wolf Sing Volsong does not move. Now coming back onto the map, pitching themselves between the cliffside to the right. They're using it as kind of a crutch to just kind of stand a little bit on the side and use. They themselves have successfully gone around slowly and stealthily, without causing any noise. Pass just lies up ahead to them. Zingval Song slowly whispers. You should make way for the mountains, go around if that's still what you intend.
Indeed.
We should separate if it does emerge. We don't want to both be caught in its wake.
Yeah.
It's Gorvog. Gorvog looks up the mountainside, immediately proceeds north. Crunching up the mountainside, trying to be as stealthy as possible. I'm going to roll another stealth check. Okay. Eventually gets up the mountainside, cresting up. See some of the rocks beginning to fall, but is able to maintain the stealth, it seems, as they begin to get up. Volsong doesn't move, lets them continue their movement, and then slowly begins to crest up the series of mountainsides. Gorvog goes off the map, about 50 or so feet on the northern side of this mountainside. Volsong makes another check. Volsong gets to this point, climbing across, is teetering a little bit, keeping space and distance, still trying to get to the northeast, bumps into a nearby tree, hitting into it, much branches fall. Another series of click sounds.
Steady.
Begins to shake. Volsong stops. What do we do now?
Fast can you run? Go.
Begins to run, moves a total of 80 feet. As that happens, a large crash of the actual ice as the creature begins to emerge, splintering upright, smashes up into the ice. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and move your actual tokens and positions relative to where they would currently be. So 50 feet north is you all, and then you, Broomhilda, would be actually at the pass waiting. So Broomhilda, you two are going to be up here by the pass waiting. You all up are on the mountainside, 50 feet or so up on the north side. So Lucar and then Zeph, and then Naldor and Tegan. You are all in this position when this creature emerges. Now, all I have to ask you, okay, because Wolfsing Volsong moves actually quite quick, as well as the other giants. Are you fighting this creature as it emerges, crashing up through the ice, towering high, 60 feet into the air, a much larger version of what you fought previously? This is a massive monstrosity. Fan-like things, appendages of eyes, and razor-sharp teeth as it comes, making a series of clicks in the direction of the movement of the large stomping of Wolfsing Volsong. Or do you continue to run and go make way for the pass?
And me and Thanos are already in the pass, right?
They're at the entrance of it, yes, where the ravine is actually entraced and then eventually works into a series of switchbacks up the northeast side.
Yeah, Maldor is operating under the assumption that the giants are probably faster than this thing, and
Okay.
we'll probably be shouting for everybody to converge at the pass, and then we'll decide if we need to stop and fight or if we can just leave. But if anybody else wants to shout out something else, like, feel free. That's where he was going.
Yeah, split second. I mean, rolling this shit over now. That's pretty much what I'm asking. Is anybody going to be
Yeah.
engaging with this? Anybody fire arrows at this? Anybody attacking this? Wolfsing Volsong is taking your instructions. Is continuing to run.
I say we get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, let's run.
Okay. Everyone says to run. As you begin to make way, disappearing into the distance, working yourself off the pass, the Kree giants themselves hustling, moving, shifting their weight. They're throwing as fast and moving as quickly as possible. The creature itself dives back into the earth at a point, rumble underneath you, but it seems to subside, becomes distant after a period of hours. Thanos. Now come to, after the series of hours, moving yourself up switchbacks, leaving Jotunvarg in the distance. The rumbling, like I said, have subsided after a period. It begins again through these switchbacks. Evergreen trees, tundra vegetation grow rather thick throughout, but start to disperse as you gain in elevation. To the west of one of these switchbacks, as night has befell, the giants themselves are tired and fatigued. They are reaching their level 1 exhaustion after moving at a quickened pace for so long to outrun this creature. You see that there is a shrine, the shadows in the distance of the trees. Now, dark vision wise, this is probably difficult, not impossible for all of you to see except Zeph. But there is a faint glow to them. Not enough to create any sort of visible light that you can see, but just a faint glow. The giants are continuing their movements, shifting their weight up towards it. At this point, they begin to kind of slightly fan out, taking in different positions, dropping their guard almost completely, throwing their weapons into the ground, to the trees. Sees Wolfsing Volsong, breathing heavily, looks in the direction of the shrine. This was built as a sanctuary by the blood of our ancestors when we made way to slay Juvari. This place begins to speak into giant, the actual shrine itself. 2 towering statues on either side of 2 obelisks that begin to glow with this blue light, similar to the eyes of the actual wolves. Begin to kind of move giant runes upon the obelisk light. And as that happens, the actual wind in the area almost completely subsides. The snow that was falling down does not. It seems to dissipate to some sort of barrier that is forming. There are 2 statues in front of the obelisks. They have bowls outstretched. Grim will protect you here. You are safe. Those on the hunt of Juvari. I bestowed a gift. On that gift, Thrym gave me something. My fight against Juvari. You are more than welcome to do the same. Give something yourselves that means more. Something that you give Thrym itself. Sit on the Hall of Thrym to dine. Shield Maiden. You will be rewarded. This is where we will rest tonight. We cannot go any further. Giants begin to crash towards the ground, sitting and falling into the trees. unloading their satchels, but like these dry, blackish rations to kind of consume them.
Nice work today. You are fleet of foot for someone so large.
Made to slay dragons. It is our purpose.
There is comfort in knowing one's purpose and fulfilling it. I envy you.
Teeters back, leans upon the tree, and just kind of begins to slowly close their eyes. Rest.
So Maldor will approach one of the bowl statues. He'll think for a moment. He'll, I would say kneel, but I imagine these are really tall, so he probably can't if he wants to interact with it.
The bowl statues
He will-
themselves are tall. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
they're
Be reaching up, yeah.
too tall for you to place anything into.
Yeah. So we can't even reach the bowl
Correct.
without like some shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess in the spirit of tradition anyway, he will just sort of calmly look up and say, you know, I've not been long for this plane. I have not much to offer, but in return for your blessings on this quest, I offer you the blood of the Celestials. And he'll pull out his hand axe and slice his hand and put some blood across whatever piece of the statue he can reach.
Okay. The piece of the statues can reach as it does begins to slightly dance and move. Its blood begins to transform into small, dazzling blue lights as it begins to fly and hover off it. Cold around you begins to subside.
Well, I'll kind of look at Maldor, see what he's doing, and try to take a page out of it. I'll pull out my dice set that I got from home when I left, and say I don't have much to offer, but this is one of the last things I took from my homeland. Hopefully, this will be enough, and I'll put the dice set on at the foot of the statue.
Put it on the foot of the statue. You see your dice set begin to dissolve into dancing like lights as they begin to kind of push and move away without having to meta this too much. Your character has access to the lucky feet. It's now in your features of your character.
Holy shit. That's insane.
And then I'll just delete the dice set from my tools.
I really want Tegan to walk up now, but now that I know what's happening, but I don't think Tegan was gonna walk up, so it hurts, but I don't think Tegan's gonna walk up.
So what do I feel whenever I get the feet? Do I feel different? Do I feel anything
You turn
Like
around
special?
and you go to push through the thicket, and you fall onto. Well, you move your foot through some of the bramble, and sure enough, that you would fall through, but the stick breaks instead.
That's cool. I gotta look
How
at
high
what
up is the bowl?
Luck does.
The bowl itself, the obelisk statues, the obelisks are not incredibly tall. The obelisks are only 20 feet. The statues to the top sides of this structure are towering about 40 feet. And the actual two statues of the bowls, which are rather amorphous, not like what the artwork here on the actual map is, more amorphous, kind of just these beings, right, with the bowl stretch, they're roughly about 18 to 20 feet in their height.
Hmm.
And Luck-
Thanos is. Oh, go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. I was just gonna say Luck doesn't use a reaction, right? That's just like a feature.
Yeah, it's just a special.
That's insane.
Thanos is actually going to teleport up onto the rim of the bowl because Thanos is a show off.
No, really bad to say that.
He just donated his ability to teleport. That's a big move.
I mean, the,
No.
the thing is that no one sees this. I'm just gonna just
Yeah, 'cause
clarify
he's
that.
Damn it, Thanos,
He's
what
showing
you're
off
doing,
for
Vegas.
literally no
That is literally showing off for nobody right now.
I forgot about that.
Tegan is under the impression that Thanos is in a tree somewhere.
Probably.
We just guess where he is most of the time at night.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of whisper to myself up here. I don't think I'll need these with this group. I think I can let go of this part of my past, and I'm going to put my manacles and my hunting trap in there.
Okay. It's unclear of the gift that you provided. Manacles and hunting trap begin to dissolve in dancing blue light.
I'm going to jump off into the brambles just to try to scare Tegan here.
Such a dick.
What the fuck?
It's just
Squirrel.
being Tegan.
Okay, fine. I'll fucking bring something.
He's been poltergeist guilt tripped.
Guess Tegan's gonna walk up. What do I want to give it? Tegan says, well, one of these I don't think I'll ever get the chance to use again traveling with this group, and I got no need for this anymore, and he's got to drop his pair of fine clothes and his old studded leather. Just drop it at the base.
See as they begin to move to dancing lights. As they begin to move away, it's unclear what the gift had been provided. Begin to disperse.
Now I can go to bed. Tegan looks up in the tree to see if he can see Thanos.
As I see him look up in the tree, I'm just going to grab snow from beside me on the ground and toss it in his face. Just gently, not like a snowball, just...
Oh!
Dust attack.
That is the biggest troll character ever. Just like,
Okay. Obviously,
like
we
this-
can't do Lucar, but yeah, we have you still
Yeah.
up, so it's up.
Yeah,
to you.
I feel like Zeph would he would almost pretty much waiting in line. He would go last, going up to the statue, but he would probably be just thinking and staring for several minutes, trying to ponder before ultimately just reaching to his back and grabbing his shield and just quietly setting it on at the feet of the statue.
Shield?
Okay.
Yes.
Putting the
And
shield down.
he'll just say, this will probably be less useful to me personally in the upcoming fight. So hopefully, my main hope is to have help protecting my teammates rather than myself. So whatever you can offer would be appreciated.
Lay down the shield, begins to dissolve. Faint voice comes from the crack of the heavens. What are you doing? You're supposed to worship me! As the shield begins to...
You have a shield with the symbol of Helm on it.
You haven't done shit for me! No. It's you. It's the head of the head of the shield begins to dissolve into the blue lights. Again, all of these things are just kind of being pulled apart and dissolved. It's unclear if they're being teleported, taken away, or put into some sort of ethereal space. But after that happens, you as well do not know the gift that you've been provided.
Yeah. Delete.
Obviously, with Lucar, we can't do Lucar. Steven's not here, but we can use Redcon.
I really hope that was a +1 shield too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had the same predicament. The only thing that would have been like of any particular sentimental value to give would have been a symbol of Helm, and I figured that might be insulting.
Yeah, I didn't really have a whole lot myself, honestly. So I was racking my brain to think what I could offer.
We could go wrong with a random gift from a deity.
I'm gonna
Especially Thrym.
Right.
I'm gonna like kind of put my back on one of these trees and start to go to sleep.
Definitely going to be paranoid. He's going to toss up a tiny hut.
Oh, you
Okay.
tossed up a tiny hut?
A tiny hut inside the giant hut. That's great. It's
Yes.
like stacked hut.
We're stacking huts.
Well, when he pulls up the tiny hut, I'll probably go in there because I know it's climate control.
to bomb me 73.
Cold doesn't bother me anymore.
Me either, apparently.
Isn't there a Frozen song about that?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Frozen.
Let it go. Let it go. Sounds awfully similar. I love that reference in Deadpool. I start talking about the reference to "Do you want to?" So good.
Yeah.
Well, giants are resting. They're not pitching any fires. They're not causing any sort of smoke signals or light. They're just setting themselves down, and some of you are getting quite cold if you're far away from the giants. The space is still cold. Elements, even though the wind is not getting there, the chill's not there. It's still very cold up here in the mountains. You're looking at roughly 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Obviously, Maldor and Tegan, you're not feeling those effects. Others are. You might have to get close to the giants for warmth. But they're just laying against the trees, sleeping, some of them against a rock, another mountainside. Just resting. Is there anybody is anything doing? Are you all doing anything before you rest up for the night? Anything that you're taking advantage of?
Ooh, I'm gonna go look in my tome again. Hold on, let me pull up the
Oh,
spell
yeah.
list.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Here we
the
go.
toe.
Here we go.
Yeah,
I don't know. We're gonna see. I've had great success with it.
yeah. Okay, let's see here. I'll look for sending in the tome.
Can you learn that?
Okay, where's the tome at? There it is. Okay. Nope.
It's not there.
What am I, 1 for 5 now?
Yeah, you're 1 for 5. Yeah.
Statistically, that lucky feat is important. So,
Can I re-roll that with luck? Yeah, that's
No, luck only works for D20 rolls.
for a D20, yeah.
what. What about a chrono shift?
Chrono
sure
Shift,
that's also-
I believe it's only a D20. Yeah.
20.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Chrono
I gotta
Shifting.
Yeah, it was
try.
just
Chrono
more.
Shifting,
It was more
looking
a
it
comment
up.
on your RNG. Wait,
Yeah, I gotta
it's
try.
like flipping. It's like earmarking the page in a choose your own adventure book, right? You're just like, no, wait, I screwed up.
Go back. Erase.
Yeah.
I love it.
Here, I'll try one more while I'm sitting here. We'll what's another spell I wanted? We'll do reduce enlarge. I'll try
Okay.
that one.
All right, roll it up.
Okay. I gotta stop putting character sheet away.
You always press C.
There you go.
Hey!
It's there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but I can't copy it down yet.
Yeah, can't be down,
It's-
but it is there. Congratulations. All right, is that it? Nobody else do anything?
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything before we go to sleep, but once we get ready to wake up, I'll probably have something.
Okay.
Zeph will probably
So if
just
any-
be.
if any- yeah.
Zeph will already just be praying to him, like one asking for guidance, but also apologizing for giving with his shield. But
I'm so sorry. You should
Tegan- Tegan is gonna examine the diamond as like if someone was trying to attune to a magic item to figure out how to activate it or use it in some way. As he's laying there under the tree.
So you're gonna look at the stone like that?
And yeah, just like study it, try to focus on it and figure out how, because he knows that he's supposed to use this thing to counteract the shield around it, but he doesn't know how to activate it.
Okay. Roll intelligence saving throw. Hmm. 20. As you kind of entrace into the stone and you're thinking about it, there seems to be a voice that is you're sensing. As you begin to listen and try, there's a connection that's established. You pitiful worm.
Aren't you technically the worm?
yeah, but he's a great worm. You're a
That's
pitiful
my
worm.
bard.
Cutting
Why?
words.
Have you? Why are you here? Why do I hear you?
I just wanted to tell you that we're that you'll never catch us.
No.
The caravan and I are long gone by now. Those wolves are a lot faster than you, huh, bud?
What drives you?
I'll be honest with you. If I knew, I'd tell you.
And you will die for this.
I should be dead already. So
Let me eat you. I'll make it quick.
please,
Convincing argument.
please, I need to eat you. What an enlightening conversation.
I mean, it is a white dragon. Yeah.
Ooh.
I think Tegan is gonna cut off the transmission.
It's gonna hang off.
Gonna hang up on him.
Hang up. Voice subsides.
In his head, he's like, "Why does everyone else's dragon seem like cool and mine's just an idiot?" The other ones are like, "How dare you speak my name?" And this
Tegan-
one's like, "Let me eat
Tegan's
you."
like, man, why me? Like all the time.
I was more expecting him to try to be more intimidating. He's just like, "Can I eat you, please?"
You'll never catch this. Let me eat you.
Not too much of an inconvenience. I'd really enjoy eating you.
Please, sir, may I have an elf?
Oh man.
Tegan's gonna go to sleep very disappointed.
Worst
Alright.
booty call ever.
I really wish I had a diamond though right now.
Tegan has a diamond.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't think it worked for that, but
Yeah. Or even if it did, I don't think it'd be worth it.
even if it did, it'd be a very expensive resurrection.
Yeah.
As if they weren't expensive already.
Tegan was like, "Hey, you up?" And he was like, "Let me eat you."
You're like, never mind.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yo,
Oh man.
dragging you up. Let me eat you. Never mind.
Let me eat you, bro.
Oh.
Come on. Come on. I just need a
poor-
midnight snack.
Poor Ethan.
Why is our group like this?
Somewhere out in the distance, Ethan is just taking damage, just shade damage.
Ah,
The dragon's an idiot.
They're making fun
So
of my
stupid.
Am I dead yet?
Oh,
No,
Nope.
how do you feel? Feel cracked?
Oh, I feel loose, limber, ready to go. Give me that
Still
great
gotta fight
sword.
a dragon.
Well, you better hurry back.
We donated your dragon slaying greatsword to the statue for a boon. We figured that's what you would do.
You got a funny looking hat.
Yeah.
It has a
Oh,
feather
yeah.
in it.
Call me Peter Piper.
It's Pelu's hat. It was teleported onto your head.
Also, my dragon's a fuckboy.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, so we kind of conclude, right, getting through the stuff, right? Tegan, you go through the motions of all that. You begin to pray, Zeph, towards Helm, right, your deity, and you kind of reach out, just give some prayers and things, and nothing comes to you, no voice, no nothing, but that's kind of common. You still feel their presence, though, here. You feel the strength of divine magic channeling through, holding your holy symbol. You know that they're here, just not answering per te in like a commune type level of communication. So as we kind of come to, I'm going to go ahead and just advance the time clock, right? Because we're getting our long rest and the early hours, roughly 5:30.
So as we're starting to sort of stir and wake up, Varys, you wake up to, assuming you wake up with everybody else ish, whenever you do wake up. I don't want to take agency of your character.
Okay.
When you wake up, the echo is just like staring at your face, like this far away.
Okay. Let me. Oh fuck! What are you doing here?
Good morning, cupcake. Did you sleep well?
Look, man, I play with fire sometimes. I'm sorry.
I need you to understand. The funny thing about being me, I don't sleep, but I know where you do. So the next time you get the itchy fire fingers, just be careful where you point it, okay? And then he's just gonna boop right on the nose and just disappear.
Oh my god.
Maldor
Varys
is completely asleep still. He hasn't woken up yet.
I am so scared of your goddamn echo.
Varys is the Echo's prison bitch.
Is there a fear? Is there a fear condition? Because I think I might be frightened.
Yeah, that's scary.
As that happens, I'm gonna kick Maldor away, like like toss
Oh,
some
what?
snow onto him.
Oh, it's too early for all that.
The
What's the matter?
the other guy just scared the shit out of me.
But, what?
You know the other
How?
guy that lives
Yeah.
inside your head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he
he's
just
inside my head.
he just woke me up.
What?
Yeah,
Just now?
yeah. How you summon the echo?
Yeah, I didn't summon anyone. I was asleep.
Yeah, well, he was here.
Shit.
Are you playing a? Are you? Can I insight check him to see if he's fucking with me? Are you fucking with me right now? You didn't do that on purpose?
No. I mean, obviously, I can't know what happens when I'm asleep, but to my knowledge, he's never gone off leash when I didn't know about it, unless maybe he has and I just didn't know about it.
That's not good. That's
Yeah,
concerning.
Yeah, it's frightening. I don't like that.
Yeah, he doesn't like me.
Well, to be fair, he doesn't like anybody.
Yeah, but like, I don't see him scaring the shit out of Tegan when he wakes up.
Give him time.
Because I'm nice to the Echo.
But just tell him I'm sorry. All right, I didn't mean to burn him.
I will do what I can. Perhaps I should start sleeping farther away from everyone. Until we figure out what to do about that. My apologies.
Yeah,
for
don't worry
starting.
about it. I thought you were fucking with me.
No, I wouldn't. He can be amusing, but his existence is not.
Okay.
He just likes your magic fire fingers.
The giants beginning to arise now in the early hours of the morning. They begin to sharpen their weapons, getting ready for the task ahead, eating their rations and finishing to tower over and stand up, cracking their bones and knuckles and neck as they can prepare themselves. You see Wolfsing Bolsong with the hand over Giant begin to speak giant out towards the obelisks. The giant begins to echo out, the runes begin to subside upon them. As they do, the lighting begins to fade, as well as the snow beginning to fall. Now it's not being hindered, it's falling down. The wind begins to pick up. Conditions themselves are swift, fast. Winds as well as the snow. Visibility is poor.
Well, shall we go slay a dragon then?
Be done. We will spill the dragon's blood this day, and Ithrin will perish. Come, chosen. Hands downwards to pick you up.
Oorah.
Hey, Michael, I have a quick question
Yeah.
for preparing spells. The spell Gentle Repose, if I'm reading correctly, extends the amount of time you have to revive someone, right? Am I reading that correctly?
Gentle repose is essentially a preservation of a body. Puts it in stasis, so it stops it from being decayed. It can't become undead. So it's going to extend the time limit on raising the target from the dead. It does not extend Revivify, if that is what you're anticipating, the combo. So the Revivify, the best way that I can phrase this, Revivify is like a stabilization that you're doing on the cusp of their death. They have yet to like fully die when you use your Revivify. It's kind of where you talk about like biologically, right? Your oxygen deprivation, your cells are shutting down. Like it's still that process. Your biologically, your body's still not dead. Your heart might be stopped, so you might be unbreathing, right? But you're not dead yet. So resuscitated, brought back. That's what they interpreted for this spell. That's kind of what their thought process was. Now, Gentle Repose can be used though for other resurrections, right? So other resurrection spells, they require a body to be preserved, right? No decay or deterioration of any kind. The Gentle Repose can be used for that. The primarily the whole purpose of Gentle Repose is for the actual raising undead, right? It's kind of to stop them from becoming anyone else's undead and becoming your potentially undead if they're raised. So that's why it's a necromantic spell. That's the whole point of it. I think for this purpose, like if you're wanting to combine it with Revivify because you're thinking about extending, right, a person's life and attempting to use Revivify, I think that because Revivify is a necromantic spell, I'll probably say that there is some time that is extended, but it's not going to be in the level of what Gentle Repose basically states as being this massive amount of time. You have a minute for Revivify, right, to throw it out there. And I would probably say that we can maybe put that to 2 minutes, right? And if we have a window that we're feeling, right, and that's going to give you an additional 10 rounds of combat potentially. But all in all, I don't think it's going to become a thing. I think for you're looking at it because you don't have diamonds, right? You don't have the material.
Yeah.
Right.
That was my main concern, so I was trying to look for alternate options.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think you can Gentle Repose and potentially even get a body back and fight a dime at the same time. I just don't think that's going to be an option.
Yeah. Okay.
All I
Is
can tell
everyone ready?
you, all I can tell you out of character real quick is that you'll be humbly surprised. All I can say. All right.
I'm ready. Let's do this shit. Thanos, you good?
Thanos is just gonna give you a thumbs up with a big, smile because he's ready to kill something.
Zeph, how you feeling?
Nervous, apprehensive, ready?
Question mark?
Egan, you got any inspiring words for us?
I mean, I talked to the dragon last night, and he seems pretty fucking dumb. So
But you called in just the shit talk, like we're coming to kill you, haha.
I kind of was just taken aback from the sheer lack of intelligence. He started off by calling me a worm, which is literally the pot calling the kettle black.
Right. I mean, depending on the context, it could have been a compliment. I mean, he obviously thinks he's great. If he's a worm, and he called you a worm.
And then asked for my consent to eat me.
Well,
that's
I feel
cool.
better already. Let's go.
Given your history, I would say perhaps stay away from the mouth area.
Yeah, you do like to get eaten a lot.
Or Tegan.
I'm just gonna take that one on the chin and shut up.
We love you, buddy. Get on your mountain ride.
So, we're going to continue pressing on this journey as you board the giants and begin to walk and march up the switchbacks, heading in the direction of north and then east. So, through this journey, occupying what you're doing, you're traveling through and primarily gaining elevation, right? So, you're using the switchbacks. It's a grueling, kind of a 3-hour trek, it seems, as you begin to kind of crest over atop of the actual elevation needed to get to the base of the peak. Not nearly up to the 10,000 so feet, right? You're just reaching about half that at this point. And you're getting to a period where you're in a thick, dense amount of evergreen trees, thickets around you. It's almost a forested region within the actual two ridge lines that form into a pass up to the actual base of the peak. And you're very much in a valley of sorts, right? It's very similar to that kind of effect. You hear the sounds in the distance, potentially of rushing water, as you begin to make way. Push yourselves through the thickness and the density of the evergreen trees as Wolfsingfall Song comes to the edge of a bridge. A large, semi-frozen river goes from south to north as it heads off the mountainside, aimed to feed into the actual ocean or sea on the northern end of the Frostmourne. Inside of the forested region nearby this, there's an entrenchment of those same kind of ice ravines, noting that at one point there most likely was waterfalls into this place. Other tributaries feeding into it, but they are too slow moving and they may be frozen over, or they just don't have enough melting. But those ravines still exist. This wooden bridge is odd. It's also quite large. Why would giants ever need to use a wooden bridge? Couldn't they just climb down the cliff sides here that are only about 30 or so feet down to the actual river and hop in and walk across? Wolfsingfall Song looks at the wooden totem poles as they have dwarvish runes carved into them. The actual wooden poles that hold the bridge. This bridge was built by dwarves. Speaks over. This bridge was built when Clan Alderfist dwarfs helped us slay Javarin. It's a relic. Need to cross this river to get to the base of Alvarin. You can cross and scan, and you can see that the trees continue on the other side of this river. Rocks and somewhat boulders inside of the river continue as it snakes in the northern direction. But the thickets in the trees on the other side begin to disperse, forming into a shelf of sorts that begins to come upwards and then rounds right and down, disappearing into the backdrop. Now you can clearly see the mountain. Even with the snow falling down, subsided a little bit throughout the day, you can see its massive, towering structure up ahead of you, miles in the distance, very close to your destination.
As we're heading up, I'll cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay. Okay, Mage Armor on you. Throwing Mage Armor on yourself right on your way up and getting to this space, getting prepared for the task ahead, potentially to fight the dragon on this day. You now come to the bridge. Wolfsingfall Song mentions, too heavy to cross this bridge. We will go into the water. You all can be on your shoulders if you want, in the river, or you can cross. It's your choice.
How old is this bridge?
Old.
Yeah, it sounded ancient. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on your shoulders.
I'm crossing.
Broomhilda looks towards you. Of course, chosen.
I'm gonna do the opposite of what he does, and I'm gonna ask Broomhilda to put me down.
Broomhilda puts you down. Putting you off the shoulders and picking you up is a free action for the giants. Anytime you wish to be on their shoulders, you'll just come up next to them and they'll place you on. There's no action or bonus action that anybody has to do for that. Singfall Song, Tegan, Maldor on the shoulders. Press
Yeah,
down,
nails down.
walking down.
Yeah, I have to go for a second. I gotta make a phone call.
Breaks through the ice, begins to trudge through. See as Gorvor begins to press through as well, falling into the ice. They begin to march across. Now we come to Broomhilda, who goes in and crashes down. The bridge begins to move and creak, the snow and the ice accumulating on it, swaying side to side, crunching in the footsteps. You have to be somewhat dexterous not to slip. You're holding onto the rope bridge as you make your way across. Passively, perceptions. Thanos, you're actually the only one who can see, especially at this angle, that there is something in the water. Large fish-like appendage of a tail, like an eel, moving. It seems to wrap around legs of Brunhilde. Thanos, I'm asking you simply, what are you doing?
Trying to figure out what Thanos would do here.
He's just watching the bearer of light sink into this river.
Yeah.
Only one who sees it.
I think Thanos would like maybe point for the other giants, but he's not gonna say anything. He's just gonna keep walking. He's just gonna like point at the water and just kind of walk, because I think that's what Thanos would do. He's
Point at
just
the
like,
water and walk.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you point at the water and walk, you see as the giants slowly kind of look up in your direction. So I'm just wondering what you're pointing at. And then Brunhilde kind of juts and moves a little bit. Varys, as you are on the shoulder of this giant, as some sort of large, massive, huge eel-like tail begins to wrap around Brunhilde's legs into the water. You only can feel the movement of the giant. We're going to go take a break. Upon coming back from a break, we're going to see what happens. We're going to get started.
My team is sabotaging me.
That's all I can say. Sabotage.
It's
That's what
convenient that
Thanos would
Thanos is
do.
the one that saw it. He's also the one that
yeah.
hopped off that giant. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's working for him.
Take this. I think
Oh,
Obviously,
my
Thanos
God.
summoned the fish.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
one of his
I
abilities.
called the fish. Yes.
I called the fish.
It's
The ranger of ice fishing.
You,
I was like,
summoned
this is
the
pretty cool.
fish to come and swallow
The
Tegan.
dude that always ruins the light.
Swallow Tegan.
All right. So if you're watching the stream, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. We'll be back in 10 minutes or so. So 1:15 p.m. PST. And we'll see you when we get back.
Yeah. Woohoo!
All right. We're
It'd just be
live.
simple.
Welcome back. We're here. Excited. I'm excited. All right. So, the first thing I need before we actually roll initiatives at all, Varys, I need you to either make a strength or a dexterity saving throw.
God.
I think we'll go with a stack save. I think that's the better of the two. I'm gonna re-roll that. So wait, that's a luck thing, right? I can re-roll with luck.
Yeah, you can spend a luck point and roll.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
That's so crazy how you got that. That is
That's
insane.
awesome.
Mm,
Much
I
better.
really thought you were
20.
about to get a 20, a nat 20.
So, Varys,
Uh.
you are not hanging on to your particular giant because your particular giant has failed their saving throw. They are brought and ripped into the water as they're ensnared, wrapped around by something. They're shoved into the water as they plunge. Your next saving throw is actually to jump on Gorvarg, which is directly in front of you. As you reach, you grab onto the headdress that Gorvarg has, clinging to some of the bonework as you are hanging on for desperately. This is the same one that Lucar is upon. As Broomhilda has disappeared into the expanse, you can see now the rippling and the swashing of water. I need everyone to roll initiatives.
See, Varus, and you were worried.
Sure. Yeah.
Fine.
Every
Fine.
time. Maldor
I'm not
has their
worried.
way. I'm gonna have to take an initiative feat or something. It's like every combat, it's like less than 10.
We all rolled like crap.
I was about to say, it's a good thing I have a +6 because I only rolled an 8.
All right. Let me get Lucar rolled up. Wow. Wow. Way to be. Dragonborn is first. Okay, well, I don't... Steve, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay, you roll first on initiative, bud. What do you want to do?
Pull up the screen so I can see what the fuck I'm looking at. Da-da-da. So it's this eel thing wrapped around, right? It's the last thing that.
Yeah, not on your giant. Broomhilda is gone. Broomhilda has been taken into the water.
Oh god.
So, first piece of information. Something dragged a giant underwater.
Excellent. What happened to Varys?
Varys is on your giant. Jumped. Grabbed onto the headdress. Hanging on Gorvarg now.
Okay. I guess. How far am I from? The hell is that? I just mass targeted everybody. I think I'm gonna Misty Step onto the bridge.
Okay. You don't
Peace.
necessarily... You don't need to Misty Step if you don't want to. You can actually take a free action. Gorvarg can set you upon the bridge.
Okay, yeah, because this water's not deep enough, or it's too deep for us to walk, right? It's like it's not shallow,
Right.
it's deep.
They're up to their waist, up above, even to the abdomen of these giants. That's how deep it is.
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
deep.
Yeah, so I'll have him set me on the bridge then, and I'll try to dash to the other side.
All right. So reaches up with the large arm, with the reach of 10 feet, extends upwards, and sets you upon the bridge.
Yep, and then just dashing. And
Okay.
end turn.
All right, ending turn. You now hear the sounds of thrashing of water as a creature breaks out It's a large, massive head, a sea serpent, as it plunges its mouth back into the water. You hear large amounts of swashing of water back and forth, crunching, shifting of weight. It's unclear as to what is happening. It's not good. Tegan, you're up next.
Okay. I'm going to give the boy we're writing bardic inspiration.
Okay.
And then I'm going to hold my action to cast Hypnotic Pattern when I see the creature.
Okay. Sounds good. Alright, Varys, you're up next.
I'm gonna cast Fly on the giant and tell him to fly us out of here.
All right. There's
Right.
a flying giant. That is amazing.
Okay. Anything else?
And I'll end my turn.
Alright. Thanos.
I'm gonna take the dash action. So I have 40 feet plus, so yeah, 80. Actually, how does that work for you with the dreaded ambusher for me getting the extra 10? Walking speed on this turn, would that double with dash, or would it just
Yeah.
be 10 on top of? Okay.
It would be doubled.
So 80. What it's. Then yeah, I'm out of here,
Okay.
and I'll end my turn here.
Ending turn, shifting, cracking of ice as one of these drakes penetrates from the south. West ice ravine as it comes out, crawling out. It runs, making haste, taking its action as it begins to bite the rope of the bridge. Begins to gnaw and rip at it. Come to Wolfsing Volsong, taking a dash as follows, making a straight line with its movement speed across the water, sludging through. It's not difficult terrain for this giant with its strength to push through the current of this water. It's just continuing to trudge and move as quickly as possible through. That is its action to dash. We now come to, which now has spectral wings of flight. As you tell, to fly begins to kind of pull themselves from the water. I believe 60 feet is the actual fly speed.
Yep.
It's going to go all the way 120. Actually, going to put it 100. It's wanting to get some elevation, so I'm going to go 80. Then I'm going to put them 3 feet into the air. That's their dash. Let's get to that point. Thanos. One comes from a thicket up here, revealing itself as it does. It runs out of the brambles, immediately takes its action to bite the rope directly in front of you, ignoring you completely. Snatching and ripping across, the bridge begins to shake violently. Maldor, you're up next.
And the cliff is like 30 feet up, but we're on the giant, so we're roughly level with the
Correct.
cliff-ish.
Correct. Yeah, you're roughly level with the giants, but remember that it is the river is not the same depth, right? So you've had to go low into the water. So, the cliffside itself is 30 feet, but that's 30 feet if you are up to the cliffside with the actual giants, right? So right now the giant is actually lower than the cliff.
Cool. So I guess I want him to toss me, but I feel like that's an action. So I can just have him put me on the bridge, I suppose, if he can't throw me.
Okay. Can't throw you unless he's going to take an action to do so. So you can wait. He can throw you on its turn. But
Yeah, that's too long because he
Yep.
just went. Yeah, so I'll just have him put me on the bridge.
okay, it's going to put you on the bridge right here.
I will take my full movement. Yeah. And then bonus action, summon the echo.
Okay.
Echo will make an attack.
There.
Did I just turn that on or off? I'm sorry, hold on. If the effect is red, does that mean it's active?
Correct.
Okay.
$20 is going to hit as you come across and strike through. 22 total points of slashing damage, cutting deep into the creature's head. Chunk away a bit of its flesh with scales as it bleeds, conforms to these tiny icicles. Continues to ignore the strike.
Attacks me again.
21 hits. 23 points of damage, coming across, this time up towards one of its legs, kind of slicing through. Kind of falls down slightly, but continues the assault on the rope.
Yeah, that's going to end his turn.
Zap, you're up next.
Alright. He's definitely dashing, so. I wish I could go faster. I'll go ahead and, as a bonus action, do spiritual weapon on this guy over here. Well, didn't summon.
It's there. Did you... Let's see. I feel like we have issues with spiritual weapon all the time. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you did just offer a holy symbol to a different deity, so I mean, it could be just a little confused right now.
Pretty good.
I know why it's not working. Okay, hold on. Try to do it again. Make sure to not consume a spell slot when you pop it out.
Yeah.
We're going up inversion.
Nope, nothing.
Oh, it's there.
I don't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see it.
I
it's
see
right there.
it.
Everyone sees it but me. That's nice.
You can't see that?
I literally cannot see. It's blank space to me.
This floating thing right here?
No, nothing.
You may need to refresh.
Yeah, that's weird. I saw the first one though, to be fair.
Yeah, the first one
Yeah.
popped up. It just wasn't. It wasn't encoded. It didn't have any of the spiritual weapon stuff on it. Give it a refresh, and then if it doesn't work, they'll just manually roll. It's fine.
Well, now I see it. All right. Let's see. Techie. You don't. Hey.
5 hits, 6 points of force damage for a large thwack. Dong.
There we go.
The other one pops up from this thicket, running at full speed, takes an action, snips at the rope, the rope begins to slightly subdue, falling down a little bit. Now, one action is not enough to break these large and thick braided ropes, but 2 actions, they will break. And its turn. Now we come to the other side, as another one comes from the ice ravine, taking an action, biting into that rope. Ending turn.
These guys are just mean.
Hmm.
You see as Broomhilda resurfaces out from the water.
Nice.
goes in for a strike into the water with the axe. It seems to crash in. And then Brunhilde does not save. Gar, you're up. You here with us, Steven? No!
Yes, I am. Okay. So. Moving 30. Too far. It's the story of my life.
Don't you have what's it called?
Misty Step, yeah, but it's still only 30.
Oh, that's true.
Anything else on your turn?
Yeah, so I am actually going to Misty Step
Okay.
as a bonus. And Javelin the Wounded One.
21 hits. 7 points of piercing damage. The javelin thuds to the side.
End turn.
Large thrashing in the water emerges.
Damn.
As you can see, as the serpent reveals themselves with Broomhilda inside of their mouth, 3/4 of the body smashes the jaws and splits Broomhilda into 2 pieces as both pieces land and fall into the water. It snarls and licks its teeth with blood fresh, and then dives into the water once more, sneaking the direction of.
Is it within range? Is it within range of my held action?
Your held action is Hypnotic Pattern. If I'm correct, you had 120 feet to work with, so it would be, if you would like to use it. Go ahead and put
For
the
sure.
token back in position. Dazzle me.
I was hoping to save Brumhilda. Rest in peace.
Alright, the creature appears to be incapacitated. It's submerged, but not falling back down into the water. So it's still kind of cycling back and forth. Seems like the effect is taken effect. Tegan, it's your turn.
I'm going to Dissonant Whispers our boy over here.
Let's take it here. Okay. It saved, takes half as much damage, does not take reaction to move away.
That's tough. Yeah, I think that's it on my end.
Okay. All right. Darius, you're up.
As I stand on the shoulders of giants, I conjure a fire bolt in my hand. I throw it at the injured one.
Standing up, flying on the back of a flying giant.
And it misses
That's
and hits the echo.
Well, it does not land. It flies into the snow. As it does, it teeters into the echo. Echo, please. I'm just kidding. This fireball lands into the ground, smashes into the snow and the rock. The ice does not hit the target.
Unfortunate. In my turn.
All right, Thanos, you're up next.
All right. So Thanos, tired of losing his bolts, is gonna draw his short sword, and we're gonna walk up and we're gonna stab this guy a couple of times.
Yep. Now, in daylight, can't complain. 26 hits, 5 points of piercing damage.
And
You know what
second attack.
Thanos need? Oh wow. What Thanos needs is an artificer in the party that can give him an endless crossbow.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Goes in for the short sword strike. As you come through the nat 1, you get tangled up in some of the braids of the rope. You pull your short sword back, and fortunately, you're able to pull it back without getting trapped into the braids of the actual wound.
Okay. I will end my turn here.
Ending turn, we now come to one at the other side as the rope itself snaps. This side completely snapped off. As it does, the bridge moves and shakes violently as it begins to teeter. As it finishes, it kind of turns and looks in the direction of you all and just stares at you. St. Paul Song continues to press forward as fast as possible. Is going to excel up on top of the actual cliff face and then go in for a series of strikes aimed at this creature. Spend Bardic Inspiration. Get success here. Landing first strike. 30 points of damage as it crashes through. Second strike. Lands a nat 1. Nothing bad happens. Aim towards the left side, crashes in, splintering through, goes in for a third strike. 23 hits. 23 points of damage. The creature smashed 2 times with the attacks of this large axe, cleaves this third strike in half, slits the body, then kicks the body. The body flies 30 feet. Slowly turns around. Kind of holds on to the rope bridge a little bit with the offset arm. Warborn, who is in mid-flight, is going to move in this direction, comes to this spot, summons a ice spear into its hands, and goes in for a series of chucks. 27 hits, deals 23 points of piercing damage, fires another one, summoning it from space. As the vaporization of the air condenses into the ice, 14 hits, 22 points of damage. And then is going to use the remainder of speed to slightly get low into the elevation of the actual cliffside. So now it's going up, and we're going down a little bit. That is going to be the end of their turn. It's your turn.
All right, Maldor is going to move around behind this thing. And then proceed to swing away.
Okay. 9. Does not hit. Ross, it moves its back end around, slicing into the snow. Coming for the second strike. 12. Does not hit. Enraged a little bit, swing too fast, missing the target. This one just skims and does not penetrate through the scales.
And that'll end his turn.
Zeph,
Wait, why do you have a -5 to hit?
it's your turn.
That's a great weapon master. -5 to hit, plus 10
Oh.
damage.
Okay.
You with us here, Zeph?
Yeah, just thinking what else. If there was anything else I was gonna do, but yeah, let's get off this bridge.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, nice job.
Solid.
Odd plan.
And I'll move the spiritual weapon attack. That
23 hits. 6 points of force damage on the strike.
assisted damage.
Assisted damage. All right, we now come to this creature's action. As it doesn't bite into the rope after taking the series of spears, seeing the other one completely smashed. It kind of snaps its eyes in the direction of the other side, noticing there's only one side that has snapped. Realizes as well your positionings, now turns and looks in the direction of 3 potential targets. As it does, its breath becomes cold, winding up and looking. It's going to turn, look, give that massive blast. It's going to prompt a check for the spiritual weapon. No worries about it.
Rolled for it.
Yeah, it's going to prompt, it's going to go all targets, right? It just takes all targets. All right.
Yeah.
So Thanos, with a nat 20, you succeed. Take 12 points of cold damage. The Echo, regardless, taking the cold damage, gets splintered, poofs away. Zeph, with a con save of 15, you failed. So you take 24 total points of cold damage. As the cold breath erupted, the creature now is going to slightly kind of rotate around you, Maldor. As it does,
20 or 24?
24 total points.
Okay.
You should be at 16, I believe. It's gonna wrap around in space. So it was here, and then it's gonna wrap around here. As it does, it's not trigger any attack of opportunities from any of you with the reach, and kind of begins to slink itself back a little bit, just growl. Ending turn. Now come to the other side. All it can do is bite, so does. Bridge falls at the back end. Then slightly kind of turns and looks, stretching their eyes in the outskirts of that river on the other side, just looks in the direction. The only person who is impacted, potentially by the actual rope bridge falling, will be Lucar. But remember, we are still in initiatives. Everything is paused. So this has instantaneously happened. The bridge has just now begun to fall in the direction of the water. And fortunately for you, Lucar, you start at the top of round 3.
It is my turn. So, as I see that, I pop my wings out. And start running towards Maldor. Kind of leap off the rope here,
Okay.
landing next to him.
Okay. So you pop out your wings, gaining a little bit of hover flight to move quickly across the snow and ice heap as the bridge begins to tumble down for you. You make a kind of a running jump as you do your wings, take flight, and you land, and you wanted to be right behind Maldor, right?
Yeah, look right behind him, and then I'll move next to him, I guess.
Okay. Like here?
Yeah, is that full 30 where I'm at right now?
I'll put you here, and
Okay.
that'll be 30
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, so then as I'm landing, I'm gonna come down in first strike on this thing.
Okay. .30 is going to land, dealing 25 total points of slashing and psychic damage as the blade whistles as it slices through cleanly through the scale. See the dragon pull back in fear of the blade, wincing from the blow within its collarbone and its left front leg.
Grin and strike again.
.29 hits, coming across, dealing 30 total points of damage. You take the blade, running to the side. You come down, top down, and cleave off the entire head of the creature cleanly. As it does, it falls onto its body, lifeless, forming into an icicle.
Lick its blood off the blade and end my turn.
It's at this point I have to ask, are we still in... Is anybody taking any combat actions? Or are we moving
Let's go
on?
kill the sea serpent.
No.
No.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Seems like everyone's done
He's
here.
over there drooling. He's having a good time.
How would you even kill that thing?
Hopefully.
Lots and lots of arrows.
Dab it with the pointy end.
Okay. As you see on the other side, as the bridge topples down, 2 drakes just staring. The serpent still incapacitated. Begin to make way up a little bit, sidestepping and rotating down, boarding onto the giants. You now have to accommodate 3, potentially, to a giant if you wish to ride, given that Broomhilda did not survive. Wolfsing Volsong Borvar did not say anything. Not cry, they don't show any emotion. To them, Hilda died and is in the halls of Thrym, living another life.
Your compatriot died with honor. We shall do her memory justice by completing our task.
So we shall.
Sorry, I couldn't do more.
It's their time.
If she wasn't able to actually battle the dragon itself.
Still, her sacrifices got us closer to our duty, so a noble sacrifice.
All that matters is the journey that we'll be taking. Hilda fought with honor, and that is enough in the eyes of Thrym. We will be there soon, but we will need to run. Come aboard. Ethrin's allies. Spawn will hunt us. If we move quickly enough, they won't be upon us by the time that we get there.
I would imagine we can't take a rest on these guys, right?
You can take a short rest while riding.
Okay.
Not take a
Yeah,
long
I'll
rest.
do that. And,
Yeah, for sure.
I'll do that and get a 3rd level spell slot back.
I always forget I
Yeah.
get my inspiration on a short rest, so I should definitely just use them while I have them.
All right, it's gonna be one of these days.
Hey, at least you blew it on that, not something else. Not that health wouldn't have been great.
Yeah, what the hell?
Hmm.
Oh, I get a 9 after I'm like 4 away. Got it. Understood. Heard.
After traveling, after the noon hour, reaching 3-4 hours or so, go into a steep and narrow ravine. As you funnel through, you see trees evergreen above the cliff sides, and ice, a tunnel, if you will, of this ravine begins to form. It then begins to open up into a massive fishbowl thing. The walls around you in the space encased with ice, spanning a number of miles of wrapped around, similar to the highlands of Jotunbarg, massive entrenchments of these deep ice ravines throughout. Wolfsing Volsong Gorvarg running full speed. They're jumping over these ravines. At this point, they skirt to a stop after going a number of hundreds of feet. This is the base of Tavarik Peak. So it is, you see a cavern that they've been running to, inside of the mountainside. dancing of these interesting lights, crystalline-like structures inside begin to embrace you. You hear the sounds of ice creaking, falling within the ravines. There is movement in them. Sing Volsong quickly turns. After skirting to a stop back to Borvar, looks in the direction of the cavern. Stares at it. Speaks in giant. Ukraina! Shake their heads. Sing Volsong immediately jumps across, landing and running into the cavern. Borvar runs and jumps across, coming to the entrance of the cavern. Coming inside this dome-like structure, you can see that it's 130-foot ceiling. Cavern walls come inwards as they work their way to the ceiling. It seems that the stone material is a very rich and deep granite. The center of the area is a large and intense hole punctured into the cavern. It descends into the darkness, surrounded by sharp white crystals. These same crystals protrude from stalagmites and form braces upon the ceiling height, as well as some of the walls that begin to grow. There is a frost that seems to come out of this hole and fills the space around it, rolling outwards. It's at this point you see Varg begins to pull you down from their shoulders and sets you within. Looks in the direction of you all. It has been a pleasure, chosen ones. It is my time. It's to the edge
Exactly.
of the cavern wall and begins to collapse it. As you can hear the sounds of skirting ice and breaking and cracking around, the sounds become louder and louder. Working with haste, begins to collapse. Just before you can see full collapse, sight lines blocked. See dozens of these drakes running, climbing up top of the bluff. Skorvarg turns and draws the axe. Faintly hear the sounds of crashing, biting, ripping, smashing into the very rocks that have just formed this wall in front of you. Sing Volsong begins to untether a rope, making way to one of the stalagmite pillars, begins to wrap the rope around it. After tying it down, begins to tie it to his body. Slowly turns, begins to lower themselves.
He just Hodored.
Rip that guy.
I suppose we're not going out the way we came in. Unless we keep the giant alive. Down, is it then?
Down it is.
Team.
Down we go.
Wolfsing Volsong doesn't say anything. No emotions are shown. Still put to the task. This was the only way. See, throwing upon the shoulders, grabbing you all upon the arms as you hang on, begins to lower themselves down.
We
As you begin to
descend into
lower.
the dragon's lair. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
So we descend into the dragon's lair, I assume.
That indeed we do. see how far it goes.
Have you ever been this far before?
No. Observed. Korvar died on we all to accomplish. Hopefully, achieve Nimsong. May look like the way out is shut. There are ways. Spawn must commune with ether. There will be another way to get in. Have no fear. Korvar will hold them. How we can honor their life is to move quickly.
Indeed, let us not waste this opportunity that he has given us.
Continuing your descent, it becomes apparent that the actual tunnel is not completely a vertical drop. Eventually you reach a point with the rope, aided by the giant climbing on the white crystals, that you come into a tunnel of sorts. As it does, it spirals down. This is very similar to a water park slide, right? You're kind of spiraling down. The actual drop, the degrade, is too steep for you to walk, so you have to be aided by the actual giant on the arms and the shoulders, which is having difficulty on themselves in this descent. It seems as though you've descended almost an hour, it feels like. It continues down, the cold, the frost growing. Icicles, the white crystals, are not actually crystals. They're embedded in thick white icicles, just somehow growing, shifting. Many of them are blunt. They're not sharp anymore. You're also finding bits, pieces of white dragon scales that have been shedded off. Potentially a large creature slithered through. As you descend the hole, you have traveled a number of hundreds of feet down. You are 300 feet in the air. As you can see these white icicles about the ceiling of this massive cavern. They are formed in a way that they are moving not just down, but to the sides. There's a whole level upon the ceiling that can be used to traverse if you're small enough. The cavern has several of these same stalagmite pillars encrusted with these white icicles. The walls of the cavern in a similar fashion. Some of them grow upon the ice floor. Frost or a mist upon the ice floor continues to shimmer and move. Some of the actual white icicles upon the floor are good enough for cover, even a large-sized creature. So they might eventually be used to hide behind, gain some sort of protection. As you're in this space and essentially suspended, Sing Volsong begins to tether another rope. This one braided to a much thicker size. It's long, fills up most of the satchel on the side. Sing Volsong, after all, is someone that has slain many dragons and understands that this might be inevitable. But Zeph, you have a massive dark vision. In fact, you actually can see about this entire space in dims, grays, and shadows. The lights, the fairy light that's dancing is actually a reflection or refraction of the light from the hole that now dances in those spaces. That is dim light, and some of it bright where you currently are. Has a massive refractory to be able to traverse the light this far down. Zeph, you see there is a hoard of treasure, a pile higher than you are tall, filled with gold, silver, copper, and gems, other items littered within. As you stretch and you look around the best that you possibly can for what you anticipate is a dragon, I need you to make a perception check.
No pressure.
Not the most perceptive person.
Don't you have good wisdom? Wait, what?
Yeah, but I'm not proficient.
Okay.
Would this be something I could guide myself on, or is this like spur of the moment?
You just need to call guidance before you roll a skill check. All I care about is that you call it before you roll it. 16. As you stare off and you look for any signs of a dragon, you don't see any. You look around the pillars, you're looking to see if it's camouflaged. Nothing. At this point, Wolfsing Volsong begins to lower themselves and anybody else that wishes to be lowered.
I'll stay on top.
We'll sing. I mean, I would probably remember too. Actually, now thinking about it. How big is this guy? This dragon? He's pretty big.
Ithrin is over 70 feet long.
How big is this giant?
Wolfsing Volsong is over 30 feet.
Yeah. I wouldn't be looking all around, including like up at the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't see this massive thing. Hidden, you're looking around. I do want to note, Tegan, if you are gonna stay up here, remember you are 300 feet from the base of the floor.
So he wants to. The giant wants to stay up, or he's
No, the
lowering
giant
all
is
of them?
lowering
going
down. The giant
Okay,
is tethered themselves to the icicles to the rock and is now rappelling down. It's going to take any of you that wish to go down at this point.
Oh,
This thing
I
was-
thought you meant stay on top of him.
Oh yeah, no, you want to stay on top? Yeah, just say I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So
Yeah.
anybody, I guess the question is, anybody staying up here and not going down or
Yeah.
rappelling?
No, we're
I
going
am not.
further down.
Okay.
And also, as
In this
we're
rock.
rappelling down, who do we think we would want to go first?
Lucar.
Lucar?
In this instance, I feel like
well,
it's
no,
Tegan.
not rappelling specifically. Just like if we get down there and we're immediately attacked.
Yeah, Tegan's the one with the magic juju.
That's true. The sooner I figure out what to do, the sooner the better.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever y'all want.
Okay, Tegan, I'm giving you Vigilant Blessing then.
Sounds good.
Also, I'll pop up the
Dark vision.
Yeah, Eyes of Night.
Okay, so you're putting on Vigilant Blessing onto Tegan. So
Yeah.
you give advantage on the initiative roll, so you just roll another d20 after you roll initiative, so you can take whichever one's higher. And then you're going to
Gotcha.
provide everyone the Twilight Dark Vision. Okay.
So hopefully we won't need to cast light.
How many
I won't
upwards of
do that.
how far dark vision can you do? How many people can you do? I should ask.
It was I think it was 5 or 6. Hold on, where is it?
Does anyone still have see invisibility prepared?
A number of creatures equal to your
I do
wisdom
not.
modifier. So 4.
So you can
Not
only
counting
do
myself.
So you can only do 4. So who in the party is not going to have this?
Yeah, who doesn't have dark vision first?
I do
I know.
Lucar and
you are.
Taurus.
If we're going off of sight lines of dark vision, obviously Thanos has the most dark vision. But is it, being a range type character, do you want more dark vision on that character?
Yeah, Maldor doesn't really need it. You can probably take it off him.
Okay. For sure.
Other
Then.
thing. I was gonna
Probably
say, with Thanos
me,
having
Varus, Lucar, and Thanos then.
The giant has dark vision, right? Because he might be
Yeah.
someone you want to put it on
The
instead
giant,
of Lucar.
the giant does have dark vision.
Because his javelins are really good from range. So
You're actually seeing that, as if you've all repelled down at this point, you can see that Wolfsing Volsong is moving the hand over the eyes, and the eyes begin to glow blue. So it's putting
he's really
essentially putting dark vision upon themselves.
But Varus, you said you had see invisibility.
no, I said I don't. I thought I did, but I don't.
Can you ritual cast it?
No, it's not a ritual spell.
Tough.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah.
No, no problem, man.
Now that I have his dark vision bonus, can I see if I see anything weird with any dragon tracks or anything?
All perceptions, everyone at this point.
Sweet.
Do I roll again or just go with the 16?
I'm going to take your 16.
Okay.
Would I get advantage since I'm looking for the dragon with my favorite enemy? Or no, that's survival.
Only in
Never mind.
survival checks for tracking, not for perception, for detecting them in stealth.
Aldor, Varus, and I are just like, Durr.
Yeah, I know, right? So Thanos and Tegan with a 24 and a 21 as you begin to scan the space. What comes ever so apparent to you is that there are small, like, kind of grooves and indentations with the perfect ice deep within the earth, suggesting that this creature burrows. So as you come across the ice, this creature is underneath the ground. You're looking for signs, potentially a recent burial, but you don't see any. The ice is completely smooth on the top, with a magical fog and a frost about. But what your perceptions do see is that there is an opening into the layer at the back end. And you can see that there is a ice tunnel of some kind that begins to make way outside this layer. Far too small for Aetherin to fit into, but big enough for the drakes to come in. See, as Wolfsing Volsong does not have the superior dark vision provided, did not actually see that. And is looking for the dragon themselves, but does not see anything. I'm going to unpause it at this point.
I'll definitely ask Wilson. He said, "You probably can't see it being far away, but what do you imagine that tunnel there for fit for smaller creatures might be for?"
Tunnel for small creatures would be for the drakes to enter in.
Perhaps we should block it before they get here.
I can destroy
That
it.
would be a good idea.
Varus, do you think this fog could be dispelled?
Begins to
Maybe.
trudge looking for the direction of what you were pointing. As you do that, there's a deep rumble within the earth.
First, just first.
Sees Wolfsing slightly stops, turns, points in the direction of the darkness, can't see where it's at. Where's the
I
tunnel?
mean, if you're looking for the tunnel is directly that way toward the wall.
Begins to walk. So doing so, the ice begins to shift and move, penetrating outwards. You hear an explosion on the earth. Large quake, all of you beginning to fall as a 70-foot dragon pulls themselves out of the ice. As soon as they do, the ice begins to heal and reform underneath them. At a rapid pace, shifts their weight and stares, eyes snapping back and forth. See Wolfsong continuing the trek over towards the hole. Initiatives are not rolled. Looks in the direction of Utigan. Bearer of the White Stone, have come.
I have.
Begins to lick the lips slowly as they do, you're going to see that I'm going to be pausing this in and out because I'm going to go through out-of-character descriptions and as well as potentially if you're making a move. We'll see. A white dragon, frozen icicle-covered scales. Ithrin is roughly 70 feet long, has a 90-foot wingspan. Eyes are deep in a mirrored blue that seem to glow with the right light. This is similar to what the actual wolves had, as well as the drakes. Claws and talons are long, sharp, and riddled with tiny spikes for grabbing into thick ice. In a similar fashion of the wings, you use them to embed into the ice for support. Slowly turns and sniffs the air. I smell a giant with you. Singh does not make a crash into the cavern, just turns and looks in the direction of you all.
Focus on the tunnel. We'll handle the beast.
Anywhere that the fairy light is not happening is essentially not light.
Got it.
Why are we destined to fight? Why not work together to destroy the thing that's controlling you?
Thanos, as you begin to move, you fall invisible. See Ithrin's eyes snap into that direction as you disappear. Lucar trudging forward. See the dragon snap and look. Let's out a roar. I need everyone to roll initiatives. Beds themselves into the ice.
Well, good thing I got a fucking advantage.
Of course, I roll a 1. Like, what? What are these initiative rolls?
Hey, I'm above a 10 this time.
Was my best really an 11?
We're all gonna die.
Did you roll
Oh.
again?
You have to roll another d20. Just
Oh,
a
it
flat,
doesn't
just
look-
a fl-
Yeah,
no,
it's
just
not
a flat
automatic.
d20. It's not an effect. No,
Yeah, we've tried to make it one. Ah,
you can try to make an
Yeah.
effect. It just does not want to. Initiative is a really finicky thing. So
You
Tough
got
to make
12
effect.
this time instead of 11.
yeah, we're gonna get you up a little bit here. Huh? Let's see
Probably
how far
worth
you
it.
go. Let's see how far you go up. Oh, you don't go up, and then sure.
Wow!
Did not want to go last. That is for sure.
As we begin combat, round 1, the dragon has buried themselves into the ice once more, smashing in to the ice upon the movement of some of your party members and smelling of a giant. Tegan, if your time was talking, time is over. Time for talking is over as your party members had moved and it seemed to have triggered a response from the dragon. Thanos, it's your turn. You are in invisible state, out of the light. Your party members cannot see you.
Let's see. Is anyone actually in range to get this bonus? Okay. I'm going to cast Pass Without a Trace.
Interesting.
30 feet from you, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so if they go 30 feet away from you after the spell is cast,
They lose it.
They lose it. Okay.
But then using that, I'm going to go over to this pillar.
So they're gonna lose it immediately.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's a bad idea. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to go at this pillar and just kind of stand here since I already used my action.
Okay.
fair.
Okay. I was
You
gonna
should
say,
have- never
I
mind.
got it.
I'm gonna run away after casting. I was
Nope.
like, wait, you lose that?
I'm gonna
Nope.
waste my spell slot.
Well, it still would have given it to me, you know?
Yeah, it still gives it
That's
to
fine.
him. That's just the main reason for using it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the main reason. I'm invisible. I don't want him to know where I'm at while I'm walking around.
Hope he
yeah, I
took
mean-
it down.
Thanos is a very solo guy.
Look, Varys, you're just upset about the whole sea serpent thing. You'll get past it at some point, I promise.
Broomhilda
Oh.
died, god damn it!
I will end my turn by
Ending-
this stalagmite.
Ending your turn by the stalagmites, you cast Pass Without Trace, the movements of your feet somewhat subdued. The ice, even though it would normally be difficult terrain, is not actually difficult terrain given how much it's been carved and moved. Even though it's perfect, it has this magical quality to it that it's not really ice. That's a really good way to describe it. It's not ice, it looks like ice, and it feels like ice, but it's not ice. Tegan, You have developed cleats as your feet grab into the ice. If it was natural ice incurring difficult terrain, you would move across it at a normal pace,
Interesting.
suggesting that there is some other effect that is coming about you. As it's grabbing on as far as the cleats are concerned, it seems that if you were, maybe potentially even walk vertically up an ice cliff. Who knows? Deep rumble within the earth. Immediately, Ethrin explodes outwards after slithering through the ice for a brief moment. After coming to this space, immediately begins to move the jaws and the jowls outwards as they begin to become frost and embedded, breathes in a massive roar of cold wrath.
Mhm.
Wow.
Shit.
Han saves! Not 20s! That's so good.
Right.
I'll chrono shift Tegan so you can roll his again.
Okay.
I mean,
Is that
sure.
okay? But that's what you want to do. I can go for it.
Yeah, I don't want him to take full damage. So.
Oh.
Okay, chronal shifting, spending the chronal shift out as the breath of ice comes shooting outwards. Maldor, you are the first in this way as you begin to brace yourself against the effect. You are sustaining the effect with your con save holding 2. In addition, there is a faint bluish light that begins to enthrall. You are resistant to cold damage. In so doing, you only take 13 points of cold damage after you saved and then resisted. Varys. With the nat 20, you have succeeded. However, you still take 27 points of cold damage to you as you're hit by this blast. Tegan, white draconic scales form on your body. Regardless of your saving throw, you are immune to cold damage. You take none.
Holy
down.
shit!
As you're braced against, you see the stone beginning to glow, becoming white hot within whatever place you have it. The eyes become fixated of the dragon upon you, as it seems that you are immune in developing these scales. We now come to the last, but not least, is Zeph. Zeph, with the 17 saving throw, you have failed.
Yeah.
Holy.
In so doing,
I wouldn't go
Zeph
down.
is unconscious after
Yeah.
taking
Jesus.
55 total points of cold damage as you fall
I'm at 40,
down
so-
from being unconscious. You can see life being restored to you. Faint twinkle of bluish lights come. So doing, you are prone, arising at 1 hit point, stabilized and alive after your gift of throw has been revealed.
Ow.
We're so fucked.
At the
We're
end
so fucked.
of the dragon's turn, the dragon raises its claw outwards towards the giant as a massive ice spike falls from the ground in the direction of them. They make a save to dive out of the way. Failing. Cleaved for 19 total points of bludgeoning damage while Sing Balsam lets out a growl as cleaved from a massive spike of ice as it sharded off from the ceiling. That is the end of the dragon's turn. Zeph, it's your turn.
Ow.
Lost a couple
Oh.
toes because of frostbite.
Right? I'm definitely going to toss up Twilight Sanctuary first thing. And move it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I would have gotten that first too.
Gotcha. Half movement speed to get up. Okay.
Alright. And where's healing? And then bonus action, I'm going to heal myself.
Okay.
Say second level.
Michael's like, alrighty.
Okay. As you heal yourself for 9 hit points, as you gain 9 hit points back, you actually gain 18 back. As you heal yourself as the dazzling blue lights.
Well,
It's the gift of Thrip, showcasing your donation.
Huh.
well, damn. It was worth it. Okay. I'll move one more, because I think I have one more. Okay.
All right, Maldor, it's your turn.
So Maldor will just tell everyone to spread out, avoid his breath. Tegan, I hope you have something up your sleeve. And he will move into position. Is this close enough to attack him? Do I need to go one more?
You are close enough to attack.
Okay, and so if I used an effect that had a 10-foot radius, he would be in it? From
Correct.
here, or do it? Yeah, okay. And Maldor will start to sort of buckle and shake, and the echo is going to take over as he becomes enveloped in his necrotic shroud.
Okay. Probably going to prompt you for a template. You can just lay it down over that. That doesn't really... Probably even
I
going
just want me to save on myself.
Yeah, it's going to target you for that. Okay.
Uh,
Okay, so as you unleash the shroud, want to give us a description of what's happening?
he buckles and shakes and groans, and the wings sprout from his back. The tattered leather just begin to sway a bit as you see his face become replaced with the echo, and you realize that he's not in control anymore. And he just kind of looks at the dragon and just... I've been waiting for this.
So
And
like
then bonus action.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, is that happens, that effect, that fear, that frighten that comes outwards, the dragon succeeds. It's not frightened from your condition as you sprout. It snaps its eyes in the direction of you away from Tegan.
And then bonus action, another echo appears off to the side.
Okay.
Now there's 2 of them.
No. And that ends his turn.
Okay, upon ending your turn, and before we get to Tegan, Ithrin is going to take a legendary action. Upon seeing the echo sprout upwards, it's going to go in for a tail strike in the direction of you, Maldor. It comes in for the tail for a thwack. Swings it wildly to the side, coming across, and misses you with a 14. You dive underneath it, barely, narrowly scraping its cleaves across the ice spikes near you. Tegan, it's your turn.
First off, here. I'm gonna say Maldor. Or whoever you are now. Kick its ass. Give it Bardic Inspiration.
Inspiration applied.
I'm going to... Because the stone has never left his hand since it's become the diamond. And he's going to present it in front of him, have it kind of float up in his hand, and just concentrate, as his action, just concentrate on it, and try to do what he did when they first encountered the dragon.
Roll an intelligence saving throw. Six. As you begin to concentrate on the dragon, there is much more resistance than you have felt before. It seems as though there's psionic energy, psychic, as it begins to embrace within your mind as you begin to concentrate and hold and do the best you can to channel some sort of effect out of it. It rebukes, rebuttals against you. In so doing, you take approximately 12 points of psychic damage as it smashes into the crevices of your mind. A feminine voice overtakes and begins to speak. Resolve. Hold fast. And it actually protects you for potentially a fatal consequence.
Okay. With that, I'm just going to pretty much back up so I can buy myself more time for all of my turn.
Lucar, it's your turn.
Okay. I am going to Hunter's Mark.
Also, is the lightning around it right now, or is it not?
It is not,
Oh,
as far as you can tell. It did not
We're about to
trace
find out.
any purple and pink lightning as it saved against the frightened effect of Baldor.
If I step here
You are
by
in
this
range.
crystal, I'm in
You're
range.
in,
Okay.
you're in range here. You're in range here. You're in range here. You are in range here. You are in. This is a massive token. You could be underneath the creature and hit. You can be around the creature
Okay.
and hit. Yep. Prior to you striking, because you were gone, because I also forgot, you didn't actually get a chance to get a gift and donate. So we need to retcon. So I need to ask you, Lucar, is there something in your possession that is of value to you that you would like to donate to a deity name that the giants worship, Thrym? Something that Wolfsing Volsong said that provides to those on their trek, on their journey. The rest of your party member gave items. And so doing, it seems, right, that there was some sort of fact to those items being dissolved. Some of them didn't know the gifts that they had. So I need to ask you, would you do something like that? And then what item is it that you're doing?
Yeah, I would have. I think it would be there's it's customary among the Dragonborn to tie a white cloth around or a right piece of like, ribbon around their weapon or armor for like mourning of the dead for a period of time. And I had one on my blade
Okay.
that I carried for a few years that I think I would maybe take that off and sort of
Okay.
symbolically.
Symbolically. Okay. That sounds good. All right. Unclear of the gift that you've been provided, but as it was dissolved, it seems that it was accepted. We're going to go ahead and pick this right back up. Lugar, what are we doing?
Slice and dice. Did my Hunter's Mark work?
Yeah, it says you.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I see it engaged upon the token. 18 hits. Come across, striking through the wing that's slightly lowered from the appendage of its claw wing. You kind of strike in with the Bane of Praetor, which whistles and slightly glows as it spills a draconic blood. The blood, as it skirts into the blade, is absorbed. It does 34 total points of damage as it cuts through.
Sweet. Okay, now
No
this is a
barrier erupts.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, this is a technical question. I cast Hunter's Mark. Is that considered a spell, so I can't also do a smite?
That is not correct. So smites are additions. You can actually Wraithful Smite as a bonus action, and then Divine Smite as well. You can stack. You're not really stacking smites. You're like boosting. That's what you're doing. Like you're always smiting, Lucar. Like there is not a strike that you don't smite. It's just that sometimes you're putting your divine into that and to boost it.
Got it. Okay. Okay, so yes, I'm taking the second attack with a Divine Smite.
Okay. 21 hits. You also can declare the smite after you know you hit. Just FYI,
Okay.
you don't have to do it. So we have 25 and 4. Add on the divine smite, please. We have additional 8. Massive deeps coming out from Lucar here, as we have a total of 37 total points, striking through as the blade alights from the divine smite. It sears the wound as it pulls it out, as the blood bubbles, soaking into the blade. Your eyes begin to slightly come aglow.
Excellent. I'll end my turn. I also have to step outside for a second, so I'll be back on my phone.
Okay. Sounds good. When we end your turn, and before we get to Varys, a tail strike comes towards Lucar.
We're gonna kill him while he's gone.
25 hits Lucar. Lucar is hit with 11 points of bludgeoning damage as it gets smashed and crashed in. It's going to prompt for a concentration check, succeeds easily for the Hunter's Mark. Varys, you're up.
Varys is gonna get the fuck out of Dodge here and take his full movement back. But then he's gonna turn around and he's gonna make the glowing bead for a fireball and then flick it over. And as he flicks it over, a huge spell will erupt on the back of the dragon.
DC 15.
15.
Going to roll 15, succeeds. Takes 14 points of fire damage as the fireball erupts, hitting, crashing, and smashing. You see as the dragon embedded itself into the ice, holding fast, turning its tail from the explosion. Lets out a small roar as it takes the hit.
And that'll win my turn.
Now come to Wolfsing Volsong. Before we do that, and before we get to Wolfsing, Ethan will take another legendary action. This time, another tail strike towards Maldor. 29 hits you. You are struck for a total of 16 total points of bludgeoning damage, which is only 6 courtesy of the Twilight Sanctuary that has erupted. Wolfsing Volsong hits into the ice tunnel, taking the action to strike into it, thrash, collapsing it completely, making it so there is no way for Drakes to interrupt this fight. After that is done, Wolfsing Volsong turns in the direction, hearing the roar of the dragon, yells outwards, and begins to run as far as they can against the ice in the direction of the sounds only, ending their turn. Now come to the top of round 2. Thanos, you're up.
I will take 5 feet here. That should put me within 30 feet, yes? Yeah. Cool. I will shoot it.
Coming in for a strike as invisible, 23 unseen attacker is going to land. As you fire an arrow off into its wing, land onto the underside of it, striking in.
Awesome. Second attack.
.27 hits, 10 points of piercing damage.
And a bonus action crossbow expert.
22 hits, striking in 9 points of piercing damage.
Alright, and I'm gonna step here and end my turn.
Ending your turn, we now come to Ithrin's turn. At the top, looks in the direction, raises the hand outright. As it does, you see a massive ice spike falling down from the ceiling, aimed at Varys. Varys, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Poor Varys.
I'm gonna get Varys killed because he can't see me. Rip.
I'll use luck to reroll that.
Okay.
The same.
Oh no.
Dexterity saving throw of
How
11
unlucky.
is not strong enough. As you spend a lucky point, you are struck, piercing in. 21 total points of bludgeoning damage smashes and crashes as you're hit, knocked off balance from the ice falling from the ceiling. We now come to Ithrin's actual turn, who roars into the air, the large ferocity and anger. I need everyone to make a wisdom saving throw, except for Tegan and all those who provided gifts. Rip.
So nobody. No.
So
Nobody.
all of us. Okay.
So we're immune to his fear effect.
You are immune to the fear effect from providing and getting a gift of Thrym. No,
All of us in unison, middle finger.
no frightful presence for you all. I do want to make a note. Frightful presence is super annoying. I've had people not participate in fights just because of it. So yeah. But anyways, the gift of Thrym is you kind of have that effect, right, too. This barrier kind of erupts in these dazzling blue lights as the voice penetrates, hears into your ears. It's almost like your ears are shrouded from this screeching roar. And then it's going to take a series of strikes. 3, in fact. 1 bite and 2 claws. First bite strike coming up. This bite is aimed towards Lucar after the whistling of the blade, enticed by it. 17 is going to be a miss as it crashes down into the ice, clipping into your plate armor. As it smashes down, it picks itself back up. Is then going to make a claw attack towards you, Lucar, swing wildly, scraping against. 15 is going to be missed as you dodge out of the way. Then goes towards Maldor with the third and last claw strike. Comes in and strikes a critical hit, taking the fist down, smashing into you. Take a total of 25 total points of slashing damage from the claw strike as some of the talons nick you. And then it's going to pick itself back up, shifting its body weight and ending its turn. Zeph, you're up.
Boy. Priorities. Trying to decide which one to heal. There's 2 people that need healing really bad.
Wait, who else needs healing?
Maldor. He's
Oh,
right in
yeah.
front of the dragon.
Right. I just didn't notice. My bad.
Oh boy. Well, hopefully I'll prioritize Maldor just because he's in front of the dragon. I'll try to get you next round.
It's all good.
Hold on. Spell. Where is it? I'm going to cast with my action Aura of Vitality, and then as a my bonus action, heal Maldor.
Okay. So, Aura Vitality, for those who don't know what this is, so Aura Vitality, healing energy radiates from you in an aura within 30 feet radius until the spell ends. The aura moves with, right, whoever casts the spell. You can see the shimmering effect from the aura actually centering out. As a bonus action, you can cause one creature in aura to regain 2d6 hit points. So you can spend that bonus action to throw out the healing. So, Zeph, you're extending that to who?
Maldor.
Okay, Maldor is getting a total of 16 health back after the 8 is doubled, the gift of Thrym.
Is that wait? So permanently, he does double healing.
Well, I'm
And-
sure it's like more like 24 hours or something like that. So, but yeah,
We don't really know yet.
But that's my turn.
Ending your turn, and before we get to Maldor, you see as Ithrin picks up the wings and attempt to do a large battering of them across the scope. I need Maldor, your Echo, and Lucar to make, if I remember correctly, dexterity saving throws against a large gust of wind bashing from the wings. The dragon is not going to be flying. This is simply just battering its wings to knock you prone and to take damage.
Why did it roll a d8 from Maldor?
Because I used inspiration.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome for that one.
All right. So dexterity saving throw of inspiration is going to be an 8, which means you are going to fail this throw. I'm going to go ahead and put the bardic inspiration back onto you at a d8 because you have unfailing inspiration, which means you fail, you get it back.
Nice. And the second one was for the Echo.
Okay. The Echo with a 21 is going to save, but that is regardless for the damage. And then Lucar, are you here with us? You're roboting, lagging out. Are you able to make a dexterity saving throw? Oof.
Sounds like
Sound-
no.
Sounds like a bad internet connection. Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hear you
Elevator
sound,
or
but we're not saying. No idea what he's saying.
I love how
This is going swell.
I'm just chilling on 1 HP, man. It's so cool.
Really?
You're gonna roll the dex save for them.
Yeah. This
Sounds-
guy roll for me.
I put in chat too. I sent a Discord. Nat 20 on the dex save for Blue Car.
Nice.
There you
Nice.
go, kid.
After the buffeting of wings, Maldor, you have failed. You take 11 points of bludgeoning damage from the wings, and you are knocked prone. Your Echo is able to save, but regardless, takes too much damage on the wing beats. Lucar is able to save as well, standing upright, not falling prone, and only takes 5 points total of that damage. It's going to prompt concentration check, and then after a point, it'll automatically roll it. So, not too concerned with 5 points. Let's get like a nat 1. All right. Maldor, just knocked prone by the beating of the wings. It's your turn. You're still alive. What do you do?
Well, first he'll stand back up.
Okay. After movement
And,
speed, stand up.
Well, bonus action, second wind. Nice.
15 hit points back.
And then I'm going to take 2 of my attacks.
Okay.
Kill it.
First attack coming out. Nat 20. Woo! It looks like it tried to hit you too. I think you were targeted yourself there too. Okay, doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, I'll swap it around. Yeah.
Nat 20 comes around. 32 total points of slashing damage she's come across for that strike. Right after the wing beat, it's lowering its head down for maybe another strike in its next turn. Come across, swiping against its jowls, its lower jaw. It's lowered its head down, cleanly cutting multiple scales.
The monstrous echo form that flaps his wings back, and he's like, "I got him too, bitch. Let's go."
Also, make sure to classify which you're attacking on for your necrotic damage. You can do necrotic damage up to your level.
Oh,
on your
that's
swings.
right. Yeah. I want to add that. I forgot about that.
Okay. You want to do that to the critical hit?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 6 points of necrotic damage, if I remember correctly, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's once only. You can do it
Once per round. Yeah.
once per round, yeah. Second strike coming out. You look like you're
It's
attacking
another
your
one.
Bardic Inspiration. 18 is going to hit, so you're able to hit with an 18. 22 total points of slashing damage as you come across once more. It's pulling its head back and forth, angered, frost beginning to billow from the mouth.
And then that will end his turn.
Ending turn. We now come to Tegan.
From what she said to me, do I get the feeling that she wanted me to continue trying to channel or just to fight?
Passively, with your insight, there was fear to the voice upon attempting to do what you did. That what you will do, if you do it, will be at your own risk. It's a risk. Not saying that you can't do it, saying that it's difficult to do and that it's a risk, and that they protected you from the onslaught of something else, and they will try to continue to protect you from that onslaught.
So there is some benefit to channeling the stone, but there's also a great consequence.
There is a great risk if you cannot make the save. That's correct.
All right, Tegan's gonna slap himself in the face and go, "You fuck up! You've done nothing but terrible things in your life. For once in your life, fucking do something that matters." And I'm gonna give myself Bardic Inspiration, and then I'm gonna channel the stone.
Okay. You should make an intelligence saving throw.
Tough self-love.
Yes.
24. You
Nice.
hold out the stone, the direction begins to glow. See the dragon's eyes being pulled towards it. What do you say?
Bow down. If not, you will perish.
See, as the dragon under the command bow down begins to lower the head, pitch their back end downwards. Okay. Is that it for your turn?
I mean, yeah, for now.
Ending your turn, you see as the dragon goes into a prone state, or begins spotting upon being bound down. Lucar, you're up.
And now,
Oh man.
Oh no, Steve! No, no. Okay. No, you're not going to come back from. I think you're having some massive connection issues. You sound like an absolute robot right now. All right. Well, I will phrase it like this. Okay. So we are 2:52 p.m. PST. Okay. This fight is going to be a lot longer. Obviously, Steven's having connection issues. I'm going to phrase it to you all. Is this a good time to pause it at this point?
I think so.
Never.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah,
I
mean,
hate to say it, but Steven is pretty much out at this point. He can't really play.
No,
So,
I know, but it just sucks.
Okay.
It's
And
just about that
wounded.
time anyway.
And we did just have a very pivotal moment in this fight, as this dragon has actually
Yeah.
been commanded down. So maybe thought process percolate a little bit for a week, but I want to make sure that it's fair. I know, I don't want to. I'll control Steven in combat if it comes to it, but it definitely seems like they're trying to play and they just can't. We technically only have about 7 minutes left until the session, right? Our time's over. So yeah, it's up to you all. It seems like you all want to keep going.
It's
I mean,
whatever. If
Yeah,
I think
We can wait.
what happens next is pretty pivotal. So I feel like it would be a shame to not let Steven choose what happens next,
Okay.
since it's his turn and like some crazy shit just happened.
yeah,
Well, now
not
it's
working.
not any better.
It's not working.
Just type
It's not
it.
working. Type it. Type in Discord. Type in Discord.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Steven's in the Shadow Realm right now.
yeah.
I half suspect his answer is just going to be "fuck all dragons," but that's why
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and pause it. We're going to end the session here. Okay. So as far as experience points goes, I'm actually going to hold off on experience points, so that way we can get experience points grouped to get at the end of the next session. This is not really too relevant at this stage because you just leveled up actually as well. So we can group it together with this dragon fight and see what happens. Right? We don't know. I do hope it's been a fun experience for you all. It's definitely something that's probably new. I've had players in many different groups. It's not just as simple as going to a dragon's lair and fighting a dragon. There's a whole thing to it, and there's this whole element of everything. And now some shit is happening with Tegan and Stone. So, so hopefully it's been
Gifts are
enjoyable.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the gifts are interesting as well. I do hope that if you're watching the stream, we've had fun. It's been enjoyable as we watch the Ilfada take on the dragon, and we will be back next week as they conclude this fight, and we will see what happens then. So we will see you all and take care.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I got
Bye.
a whole week of being on 1 HP.